Alright, guys, what is up? What is up? Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope everyone had a good Wednesday today. Hope Wednesday was good. Hope we had good days or whatnot. But yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by. We are having some technical difficulties. This is frustrating already. I have nothing on. That's here. Let's just disable. I need that. I need these two. Okay. Well, anyways, but yeah, we're having a bit streaming issues. Hopefully, it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, hope everyone's Wednesday is good. Mine is great. Work wasn't too chaotic today, so you know, things are going, checking out, whatnot. I'm just waiting on Drujitsu for his raid. We're waiting to see. We're waiting for him to hop in with his crew, the Drew crew. Other than that, yeah. So, with that being said, announcements. We have next interview after this. It was Saturday. Next Saturday. That I remember. Next Saturday. God, next Saturday. Sorry, let's see. Yeah, next Saturday on March 6th, 2021. We will be interviewing Boweldy. You know, if you guys don't know Boweldy yet, he's a Valorant streamer. He also streams lots of variety of games. Like he's played Neo and he's played Valheim. He plays lots of very fun games. Also a great guy to talk to. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and check him out because we will be doing all that fun stuff. Yeah, for next week. And then after that, we're still having other people in the works, in the making of what's to come. But yeah, stream is still lagging. What's killing my PC right now? PC's looking everything fine. Yeah, everything looks good. Yo ho ho! Drujitsu, there you guys are, yo. Thank you for the huge raid of 7 people, Drew. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello all. If you guys don't know already, I am Jamato TV. I used to be a variety gamer, but I don't game as much as I would love to. I found out games in my life. I took a break back in February, I believe, and beginning of February, and with that break, I took a 2-week break, and I realized that playing games wasn't the best for me. It's a new day. Yes, it is. But yeah, hopefully, I play games like once to twice a week, depending on like if I have a podcast this day or that day, right? It just depends. And yeah, like right now we do lots of interviews. Every Saturday we usually play a game, and on Sundays we do karaoke Sundays, yo. So if you guys ever want to come by the streams on Sundays, feel free to come. Invite is open for all to sing. I'll sing for karaoke Sundays. Other than that, Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the show. And let's see where Drew is. Drew, if you want to hop into my Discord, feel free to join. I'll drag. Yeah, there we go. Boop. Oh. Alright. I need to turn off my webcam on here.
Hello.
Hello. Alright, let's open Twitch. Oh, let's open Calendar. Oof. Wait, why is it like this?
There we go.
Hold on.
I had to change my settings.
No worries.
What's up, dude?
Pop up settings. Let's drag you here. Woo. So how's your day today, Drew? Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for rating, as always. On the love and support.
Of course, dude. Anytime, man. Anytime. What's up, dude?
So, how was your day? Let's start with that.
It was pretty chill. Work was pretty good. Although I didn't get to finish a project that I was working on because we hit some roadblocks. I usually do quality assurance, so I was like testing some stuff, and I was roadblocked by some things, so I couldn't finish the project. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just kind of chill here.
Nice.
Yeah, other than that, it's been chill.
So, honestly, good. Work was pretty like weird, but like there's like customers coming in and out like once, like one or two like customers coming in once in a while. It was pretty quiet today. Snow completely melted today, completely.
Is it getting warmer up there?
I was wearing a t-shirt all day, so yeah. I just wear a backup jacket just in case, but I didn't need it, so it was fine.
Nice.
And then we went to go pick up my mom's car at the Lexus dealership. We got to go see my sister's car from also the dealership. So, like, because she bought a used car at Lexus, so yeah, there was that. She doesn't get her.
The 2017 IS 300, right?
The IS 300, yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Black and fully tinted.
Fully tinted?
Yeah.
I love it.
Alright. First question. I think you know this question is already coming to you, but
of course.
Why did you retire the maid costume?
Why did I retire the maid costume? Okay. Why did I retire the maid costume? So, when I first started doing the maid stuff back in, I think we started in September, I thought I could do it. I thought I could do it for like 3 straight months, right? I was like, cool, this will be easy or whatever. And the novelty of it was still really fun when I started, right? Because people really liked it. People like had fun with it. After about 3 weeks or so, I started to get really tired of it. Like the allure of the maid costume and being on stream and stuff it lost its luster, and then what was left was basically all the difficulties I had with the costume, right? Like, it wasn't, it's not tailored, so it wasn't like form-fitting or anything. Some things kept getting loose, and it got really uncomfortable. It also added a lot of setup time just for me to get in the costume before stream every time. So I got really tired of it. Like, it started to wear down on me mentally. And then, as time went on, I was just like, okay, like I need to have an end for this, right? Like, I need to stop doing this at some point, because I know if I keep doing it forever, like I might just stop streaming, right? Like, unless I get, like, I don't know, maybe if I got a tailored one that fit more comfortably, maybe like I probably would have done it forever. But yeah, like it wore down on me mentally a little bit. So I decided to just, like, I want to put an end. I want to put an end date, and that's when I came up with the whole notion of having seasons, right? Taking a week break or a month break. Yo, Dark Yumi.
Yo, Dark Yumi, thank you for the raid of 4 people. Hope you had a good stream, brother. Welcome, Rangers.
But yeah, whatchamacallit? Yeah, after once I put that end date on my maid stuff, I felt a lot better about it because I knew it was gonna stop, right? I also miss streaming in regular clothes and being more comfortable. doing that. You know, a lot of the time when I wanted to stream, I just wanted to chill out. And being in that maid outfit, doing all those fun things, they were really fun, but it didn't allow me to relax, right? And so I imagined like that I wasn't relaxing. I really wasn't relaxing like three times. I decided to stop it. And I retired it because I figured, you know, that was a really fun thing to do, right? It was a really fun thing to have. But I know I can think of something else afterwards, or rather, it'll force me to think of something else like after the maid outfit's gone. So I'm still working on that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's why I stopped wearing the maid outfit. Not that it won't ever come back, but yeah, I'll stop it for now.
Okay. Well, let's get into the questions, shall we?
Okay, let's go, dude.
Given the choice of anyone, live or dead, in the world, who would you want as a dinner date?
Okay, let's see. Anyone live or dead? I think the last time I answered this, I said Anthony Bourdain. I really like his shows, right? Like No Reservations, you know, Cook's Tour, The Layover, etc. He's a really good writer, especially later on in his career. But whatchamacallit? He just sounds like, I mean, for one thing, of course, he's a chef. He's an amazing chef. He knows everything that like goes on within a professional kitchen. So I just wanted to pick his brain about that kind of stuff, right? He's also been at the same time, especially towards the end of his life, he was fighting a lot of battles, like mental health battles, right? So I always wanted to pick his brain and see what that was like, you know? Yeah. He also seems like he'd be a really good drinking buddy too, if you're really into it. You know, he just seems like a real fun guy to like party with at the same time. But yeah.
Okay, so next question. Would you like to be famous, and in what way?
Do I want to be famous? I mean, as a streamer, sure. Like, I'd like to be famous, but that's actually a hard question to say because I want to say no, right? I don't want to be super famous. I want to be a little bit famous. You know, I want to be renowned for kind of doing what I do now, right? But I wouldn't want the amount of fame that would come by being in like the social zeitgeist, right? Where like everyone knows me, right? And like then all of a sudden everyone's into my business, right? Like you know, like TMZ news outlets or whatever. Like if I'm at that level, that would be very anxiety inducing, right? I wouldn't feel like I have any privacy or whatever. And I like to have that space, right? I mean, as much as I love streaming and being in front of you guys and being you know, fun and all that stuff, I also really like my space. You know, like I'm kind of I'm like an extroverted introvert. Like I love spending my energy and, you know, being extroverted, being super fun and whatever. But there also comes a time where like I can't recharge my energy that way. Like in fact, it takes a lot out of me to do that. So when I stop streaming or when I have that alone time, I love it. Like I love just like recharging that way. And I feel like I can't really do that if I'm like at that level of celebrity where, you know, I have to like watch my ass all like 24/7, you know?
Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're gonna say?
Yes, all the time. In fact, I feel like I have sort of like a phone voice. Do you ever have a phone voice? Like a customer service voice?
I think so, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, like, because for me, I used to work in IT, and I used to work front desk and a bunch of other, and a couple of other jobs. So I developed this, like, phone voice. I'm pretty sure some people in chat might know this too, like, or have this, right? Like they have a customer service voice where, you know, they change the way they speak. They might speak more clearly or whatever. You know, like right now I'm just kind of like winging it, doing whatever. But, you know, if I get a customer call, I'll be like, hello, this is Andrew. How can I help you? You know, kind of stuff like that, right? So, and even if I have to make a call, even to an appointment, like the perfectionist in me is like, okay, like let's spend 5 minutes. What am I exactly going to say to this person? Like, so, or whatever I can do to not let this person know that I'm a weirdo, you know, like, like, oh, like I'm just asking for a dentist appointment. Like, okay, what am I going to say? Like, am I just be like, yo, dentist appointment, or like, be like, oh, hi, my name is blah, and I want to know, you know, like I always do it. I always rehearse. And it's weird, but it's the perfectionist in me for sure.
Oh, my camera gets that hella blue, yo.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Oh.
She sees me.
Hey, Bento. Bento D.
What's up, Ben?
Ben.
What's up, Bo?
The Bo, welcome in.
It's okay, so.
Yeah, Randy, Ingrid.
Oh, chat, what's up?
I don't know if you were there, but were you surprised when... Wait, were you there? Cobb's
during
songs,
Soons, right?
yeah.
Yeah, as soon as the subathon. I saw that. I was working at the time, and I was like, like what? I was like, what's happening? Is this real right now? Is this real life? Oh my god, it's happening.
But
that was dope, dude.
I was talking to Randy, and I found out this right when they without them even telling me. You know, I'm like me and Randy, we're spirit twins. You know, we have that spiritual connection. We have that spiritual. Honestly, it wasn't a surprise to me. So, like just
like you knew.
I knew before even Randy told me too.
Well, you're all twins, man. That's why you know each other's moves before you make them, right?
And I asked Cobes and see if what he would say, and he obviously said nothing. So, so I knew something was up.
Nice.
So I knew something was definitely up.
I like it. I'm here for it.
All right, back to the questions, Joe.
Okay.
What would constitute a perfect day for you?
Perfect day. It's a good question because that would honestly depend on what I'm feeling that day, you know. But if anything, I would say all of my perfect days, if there ever are any, would definitely consist of really good food, really good company, and really good conversation. I think that's it. I think that's all I really need, you know, and that can come in different ways too. Like maybe like a birthday party and we all hang out and like eat and then talk or whatever, or it could be like a smaller gathering of people, right? You know, maybe just like a handful of my friends or family hanging out, eating really good food and chilling. It could even be me hanging out with one person, right? Just like having a really good, deep, like heart-to-heart conversation or whatever over like really good food or drinks or something like that. Or it could even be like me or a couple people like watching a movie and then afterwards we discuss it over like wine or something. You know, like just yeah, it always has to have like good people, good food, and good conversation. I think that's all I really need for a perfect day. Maybe a sandwich. You know, maybe a sandwich would be really good too. Yeah.
Who's making the sandwich? Who's making the sandwich?
Well, none of my friends. None of my family members making the sandwich. I want the sandwich to get professionally made. Probably there's this sandwich shop around where I am. I think they're a franchise too. They might be like everywhere, but you ever heard of Capriotti's? They make a really good like Thanksgiving turkey sandwich where it's like turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, the whole deal. And they make it in like, and their large one is like 18 inches. It's like this. It's huge. Love that sandwich. That sandwich. The turkey dinner leftover sandwich. Yeah, I think that would also be part of that perfect day. Yeah.
Like, you may ask, what if your friends work at the sandwich shop?
If my friends work at the sandwich, you know what though? If my friends work at the sandwich shop and they heard me say all this shit, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna come in with like, you know what? I'll come in with like a hoodie, you know, or I'm gonna Clark Kent this stuff. I'm like, you know, put on my glasses, put on a hoodie on, you know, like not look anyone in the eye. Like, yo, can I get a turkey leftover sandwich? Thank you. And like, you know, just like chill out, you know, grab my bag, cover my eyes, and leave. You know, because it's a good sandwich, man. If my friend makes it cool, but you know, yeah, I've yet to see them make that sandwich. So until they do, I'm gonna say no friend with that sandwich.
And then, what's your go-to movie if you had to pick one?
Ooh. My go-to movie right now would probably be it's either Bloodsport, which is essentially Jean-Claude Van Damme's like first feature film, because it's so it's one of those so bad it's good movies where like it's really terrible, the acting's terrible, the writing's terrible, but it's got a lot of like fun, like memeable, quotable moments, right? And I mean, it also takes me back to my childhood when I first saw it too. Like I'm just like laughing the entire time watching it. So that's a really good go-to movie. Another one would probably be Trading Places. You know, Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, and John Landis. Like that was such a fun movie, and it also kind of spurred on this universe, little like cinematic universe with like Coming to America, and also there's a new sequel of Coming to America 2 coming out pretty soon that they're gonna like kind of rehash that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are I'd say those two movies, Bloodsport and Trading Places.
When did you last sing to yourself?
Yesterday. Actually, no, that's a lie. Today. Today. I was on my way to my office where I work to pick up and drop off some hardware because I do a lot of hardware QA. And on the way, I was like, oh damn, what kind of songs can I add to my song list, right? So I went back I had this old like 90s R&B CD like in my car, so I'm listening to it and I was like, oh shit, I'm like, all right, this song's really cool. And then like Jodeci came on, like from Casey and JoJo, and I was like, oh yes, I gotta add this, and I started singing to it and I was like, can I do it? And so just stuff like that. Yeah, so definitely. What was that? Okay, no worries.
So where were we? Okay, so if you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want?
Ooh. Okay. That's a good question. I think I would want to keep. I think I'd want to keep my mind. Actually, well, that's hard. Like, okay. Like the physicality of my mind at 30 years old, I would say yes. Although if it was like me at 30 years old, right? Like if I was just like stuck as like, you know, Drew at 30 years old, I'd say no. because I'm way better now than I was at 30 years old. Yeah. And if I had to live like I was, how I was at 30 years old for the rest of my life up until like 90, I would hate it. But if it's the physicality of my brain, like if my brain was intact, like as if I was 30, and I could still learn and you know, think and talk and write and do all that stuff, I'd rather keep the mind. Like I don't mind my body, you know, deteriorating naturally as it does. But if my mind's there, if my mind's right, especially like, you know, till the last moments of, you know, when I pass away, my mind's right, I'd still be happy, right? Because I'd be able to impart wisdom or, you know, satisfy any musings I have, right? Because if my mind starts going, especially, you know, let's say like within the last like 5 or 10 years of my life, my mind starts going, then I'll never really know when I'm gone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'll never really know if my mind's gone, and I wouldn't really know if there was anything to regret or whatever. You know what I mean? Like if I were, let's say, let's say after I was 90 and I pass away, and like I'm at the pearly gates or in hell, I don't know, like, and I look at my life, and if I had seen that my mind had gone for like away for the past 10 years of my life, I'd be really sad because it's like, oh man, like I didn't really get to live that last 10 years of my life because I wasn't even aware that I was living those last 10 years of my life. I wasn't aware that that was my last day on Earth. You know what I mean? Like up here. So yeah, I'd like to keep the mind of a 30-year-old.
That's surprising me because everyone else said body.
Yeah. Because the things I figure too, like if my mind is like, I think it's because you ever watch Black Mirror?
Nope.
Or something like that. So in Black Mirror, there's this thing where like you can download your consciousness like to something else, either like I don't know, like stored up in the cloud or whatever, or like into like you can store your consciousness somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So like your consciousness and your mind is still working as if like if it's normal, but your body, like your physical body, could be dead or whatever. And I think I'd rather have that than like, you know, not know. It's almost like not knowing when you're. In a way, it's almost like, I guess I think of it this way, like if I didn't have the mind of a 30-year-old, right, but I saw the body of a 30-year-old, I wouldn't really know when I've stopped having cognitive functions, right? Or rather, like I wouldn't know when I'd stopped having agency, right? Like, because then I think I just slowly get into, you know what I mean? Like my mind would just slowly die, and I would have no idea when my life would end. Right? Like when did it stop? Like I wouldn't know, maybe. You know, so yeah, I'd rather have the mind. Because again, what if it happens? What if like it becomes like Black Mirror in like 30 years, and I could totally download my consciousness to like Dropbox or something, right? and live out my life in Dropbox or whatever, like like as if I was 30, like it, because in my consciousness I'd have like the mind and body of a 30-year-old, you know, like, because it's like digital and shit and it lives forever. Like I'd like to have that. I'd rather have that.
Yeah, Yumi says here, I love certain episodes in Black Mirror.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, dude. Like there was an episode about that, like downloading your consciousness to other stuff. And there was this other one where like you had this chip implanted in the back of like your brain, your your spinal cord, and you could use this little like USB thing to look back at memories and shit. Like you basically had instant replay. Like you'd be like, oh, what did I do like last week? And you can be like, you can like, you have like it's almost like having like Google goggles or whatever, or like Microsoft's like whatever their AR stuff. And you can just like look at your old memories, like, oh, what did I do last week? Like, oh, cool. Or like, what happened when I blacked out here? Like it's kind of neat. But yeah, some of those episodes are pretty dope.
I was thinking of that. I don't know if you remember this Click. It reminded me of that. Click.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, in a way, like he can, you know how he can rewind, right, and go back to like what his life was like. It's like that. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Yeah, you can basically go back and be like, oh, what did I do here? But it's funny because in Black Mirror, you know, because it's like installed in them, when they go into that mode of looking at stuff, you know, to the person that's looking at it, they look like they're looking at some sort of like Minority Report cool thing, right? But to the outsider that's looking at the person doing it, all they see is a dude like with his eyes rolled back, and you're like, ugh. Like it's pretty funny. But yeah.
Okay, so for what in your life do you feel the most grateful?
It's a good question. I would say my therapist, honestly. For a really long time, especially, you may even know about this too, like the Asian American community for sure, they don't really talk about mental health a lot, or at all, right? There's a lot of like really negative views about it, and seeing a therapist was almost like a sign of weakness, right? Or that there was something wrong, or whatever. And then I realized, you know, I went through my life thinking that too, up until like last year, when I basically hit absolute rock bottom, right? And I was seeing these patterns that I kept getting into that I'd never liked, and I also kind of felt, you know, I had these feelings that I felt throughout my whole life, and I wanted to address it. You know, I wanted to end it. I wanted to stop thinking this way or going into these patterns. So I figured, okay, I think it's time. And I also like after talking to my family, they were like, hey, I think it's time that you should probably seek a therapist and talk to somebody. And ever since I did, it felt like my life completely changed. Like it did like a 180, basically, you know. And I got to learn a lot about things about myself. I'm still learning a lot of things about myself. I'm learning how to like kind of utilize the best of myself. And it's crazy because I wish that I had known, or rather, I wish I had sought a therapist when I was a lot younger. You know, it's one of those things, right, where it's like, I wish I knew this when I was like 18 or 21 or whatever. Like, all the things that I'm learning now, I wish I knew, because I would have all this time to learn more and also practice what I learned now, like all that stuff, right? But at the same time, I'm just thankful that I have it. You know, like I'm thankful and grateful that that this therapist is in my life and helping me kind of be more self-actualized, be more self-aware, and all other stuff. Because it's been a journey too. That in and of itself has been an incredible journey, and I'm still going through it. So it's been amazing.
So, growing up, were you the only child?
No. Growing up, I had an older brother and a younger sister. So I was very much the middle child. Yeah.
And how was the relationship between you three?
It was good and bad. Like, it was good because we still had this really cool sense of camaraderie. Growing up, you know, we're very much alike, of course, as brothers and sisters are, and we're all very rambunctious. You know, we're really fun. So it was always really fun. At the same time, being a middle child in that family was really hard, because it was hard for me to, first of all, I never really learned how to advocate for myself. Like, I never learned how to ask for things or let people know that I had like certain needs or whatever. I was always quiet, right? Like, I was always quiet and very shy because I didn't know how to ask for what I wanted. And that's because the way I learned it was, you know, I learned from my older brother, and he was very rebellious. You know, he was very, very rebellious. And so he would get in trouble a lot. And when he got in trouble, I saw how my parents reacted to him, right? They would punish him, right? Discipline him or whatever. And being the middle child, I'm like, oh, that's my older brother. Like, okay, I know how to not ask for my needs that way. I know that I shouldn't be rambunctious or whatever. Like, okay, cool. And then my younger sister, you know, she's the baby of the family. She's the baby girl. And, you know, she would cry, and she would cry a lot, you know, cry and whine a lot, ask for a lot of stuff. And my parents, no joke, they would totally spoil her, which is fine. But at the same time, I also saw the way that my parents reacted to that. And they were like, oh, man, like, you know, your little sister's always a brat. She always asks for, you know, she's always a brat. She's always whining or crying and stuff. And so the way I learned that was like, okay, so I learned from my older brother that I shouldn't be rambunctious or yell or whatever. And I learned from my younger sister that I also shouldn't cry. You know, like, like I shouldn't cry and also ask for that. So that's why I got so quiet as a kid. I was like, I don't know what to do. So, so that was kind of difficult in of itself. And growing up with that, it also made me feel like I was kind of invisible at times, like even within my own family, you know, and that was hard. Because again, like, I'm invisible, and I also don't know how to tell people that I need or my needs or wants, right? So they never got really fulfilled. I would just kind of sit there and suffer in silence a lot. And with that, it also kind of, because I grew up like that, I also carried a lot of resentment towards like both my brothers and my sisters and my family, like my parents, for that too. You know, like, you know, of course I'm working through that now. But yeah, that was pretty crazy growing up though. There is good and bad about being that kid.
Okay. Well, this leads to the next question. All of this leads to the next question. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
I believe I may have answered this during the AMA. I don't know if the answer had changed or not, but I would say if anything, I'd like to see what it was like being the oldest in the group, of our siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it doesn't matter like who would, take my middle spot or whatever. But I'd like to see what it is to be the eldest in the group, because I feel my brother grew up with a very type A personality, and he was definitely rambunctious as a kid. But as he got older, he was very assertive, right? He's very assertive and stoic, and I really like that. And like I kind of wondered, and I never really did that for myself for a very long time. But I kept wondering, like, if I were to grow up as the older brother, right, or as the eldest among the siblings, and be able to take care of everybody, like, I always wondered what I would be like if I were more assertive as a kid, right? Even if I was more rebellious, how did that feel like, right? How did that feel like being the pioneer amongst all three of us and getting into trouble and being disciplined and all that stuff, right? Or because I'm the oldest, right, I experienced a lot of things for the first time with my parents that, once they came to us, like, they kind of knew how to deal with it because he had done it already or whatever. So I always wanted to see what that's like.
Yeah. If you could wake up tomorrow morning having to gain one ability or quality, what would it be?
Ooh, okay. I would love to know how to play the piano. Like, yeah, I think I would love to know how to play the piano well. Because as much as I love singing and stuff, I can't really make covers. Like, I can't really make covers of stuff because it's like I don't really have an instrument to play. I mean, the instrument that I did know how to play growing up was the trumpet, and I can't really like play and sing at the same time, unless it gets weird. Like, just be like sing between every note, just like, like it doesn't work, dude. It doesn't work. But if I had a piano, I always thought, oh, that'd be really fun to do covers or express myself musically in that kind of way. Not that like I'm not really good at writing songs, but I do feel a certain way when I feel like I can sing a song and play an instrument at the same time. I always wanted to know what that's like, what that feels like, and what I would do if I wanted to cover other musicians' stuff, right? Like, I always wanted to see what I would do with it. So yeah, I'd love to play the piano. I'd love to wake up tomorrow and know how to play the piano. That'd be
amazing. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you really want to know?
Let's see. So when I was in high school, and I was searching for a college, right? I was senior in high school, figuring out where, or rather junior high school, and I was figuring out where I want to go for college. I had a couple choices, and one of those choices was going to a local state school, which I still actually ended up going back to that local state school. But they gave me practically a full ride to go to that college, right? But this college was 45 minutes away from where my family lived. And at the time when I was 18, living as a middle child, all that other stuff, I was like, you know what, man, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of this town or whatever. I need to make some space. So I decided to decline that full ride to that college because I just did not want to be that close to my family at the time. I was just like, I want to, I was like, oh, I'm going to be 18 soon, I want to be a new me, right? I want to be in a new place, and I want to make my own identity, make my own way. So, I decided to decline the scholarship, and I went to a college around here in Orange County, East Irvine, actually. It's outside. I went there, and I went there for a little bit. But of course, life happened, etc., and I actually ended up coming back to that college, that same college that I rejected, like a few years later, and finishing my degree there. But yeah, I always wondered what it would be like if I were to ask this crystal ball, like, what would my life look like if I had actually taken that full scholarship, what would have been like? What would I have achieved? Like, would I have done my degree, earlier than I did, transferring out, transferring back in? Would I have stuck with the major? What kind of job would I have right now? What kind of life would I have lived right now? And even my relationship with my family, what would that look like? All that kind of stuff.
Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time, and why haven't you done it yet?
One thing that I dreamed of doing for a really long time, probably. It's gonna sound really nerdy, but I've always been into PC tech, right? Even when I did computer science, excuse me, a donut. When I was into computer science, I concentrated mostly on computer graphics and stuff like that. But I always wanted to know about the hardware, right? And one thing I always wanted to do was to learn how to do GPU coding. Basically, it's like writing shaders and using the GPU to do brute force computational stuff. Essentially like making thousands of calculations. Basically, if you ever used, what was it, Folding at Home, right? You ever heard of that? There's a program called Folding at Home where like you can use your computer's idle cycles, either GPU or CPU, to theoretically fold proteins and stuff, right? Like you basically help with like a lot of like.
Where'd you go? Oh. Hello? Wait, hold on, sorry.
Discord does this sometimes.
That was weird.
My Discord does this sometimes. But yeah, I wanted to dive more into that.
And your cam's off too.
Because
your cam's off.
Oh, my cam's off too. Oh no, no! Hold on. There we go. Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I always wanted to get into like GPU programming, that really cool stuff, into like the semiconductor industry. The reason why I haven't gone into it yet is because the subject itself is so like daunting to me, right? It's like what it is. It seems like freaking rocket science and brain surgery to me. It seemed so like in depth, and I didn't think I was smart enough to tackle it at the time, especially when I was in high school. But of course now I would love to, if I got the time, like I would love to dive back into that. Also, that's where a lot of the money is, like in terms of like hardware, like program, like hardware programming and all that stuff. Like that's where the money is, dude. Like that is where the money is. So, but also like it's just I always loved graphics cards, technology, GPU technology, and all other stuff. So I always wanted to dive into that. I may come back to that someday, maybe soon, depending on where my career is going.
What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Greatest accomplishment of my life. It's a good one. I would probably say, I mean, it's gonna be corny, but I would probably say getting hired in my current company right now. Getting hired at Blizzard. At the time before I got hired at Blizzard, I was actually unemployed for like a couple of years. And this was like during the second recession, like the housing crisis and all that stuff, right? Like back in like 2012-ish or so. I was unemployed for 2 years. And actually I was working at AMD actually before then. And then I got laid off like at the start of like that second recession, basically. So I like it was really hard for me to find jobs and all this stuff, and I was like at a very low. I decided to move, and at the time I was living up north, like in the Bay Area in San Jose, and I decided to move back down to Orange County where I originally went to college, and you know I was still having a really hard time trying to find work, so I just kind of found whatever I could. I ended up working IT, like front desk support for a while for a law firm, and I hated that job. Like it's the worst job in the world because not only was I doing IT for a lot of people that were very computer illiterate, bless them, but they were also computer illiterate, but they were also they were also bigger than all my bosses because each of those lawyers made like mid six figures easily, so that everyone had like basically were swinging big dicks all around, right? And like they had all these egos and like yeah, there's a really funny story. This one time I was helping someone out with a Microsoft Word problem, and this guy was like, "Hey, I made a I made this thing where like I can look up San Francisco if I just type in San Fran." And like I can't find it all in this legal document. Of course, legal documents are like thousands of pages long, right? I'm like, oh damn, let me help you find that. Like, okay. And then he's like, oh, I pinpointed where it's not finding this, and it's like it's misspelled, right? That's why you couldn't find it. I'm like, well, it's actually kind of misspelled. That's why it wasn't able to. That's why Microsoft Word wasn't able to search for it. It's like, no, that's how you spell it, right? I'm like, no, I'm like, no, that's not how you spell it. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that's how you spell it because I live here. I'm like, I understand that you live there, but I think it's wrong. But it's just like he just wouldn't. Again, it's like his ego. Like it's just like he just would not concede and just let me end the ticket early. Just let me end this ticket. But yeah, stuff like that. Like I hated it. I hated that job. I was in such a low after that job. I was heavily drinking at the time too because of like how frustrating that job was. And then at a certain point, I was like, I need to get the hell out of here. So I started applying to more jobs, and then someone said, hey, you should apply to Blizzard. They have this position open. I was like, that's a long shot because the stories I've heard about Blizzard before then getting hired were like almost impossible, right? So, but I tried. I gave it a shot. And then, of course, I didn't hear anything back the first time. And I said, cool, I won't do that again. Another like 6 months passed by, and the same position opens up. And then my friend that actually worked there was like, hey, you should apply for this job. Like, seriously, it's opened up again. I'm like, fine. So I really put my full effort into it. I got like my resume doctored and everything like that. Like went to classes, doing all this stuff, basically to try to really get hired by Blizzard. And then I got denied again, but they were like, hey, no, seriously, you should, like, the hiring manager was like, apply again. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So I did. And yeah, so what ended up happening was they hired me a month later after that because they found that, oh, they actually have more positions open up and they wanted to see me and all that stuff. And then 5 years later, here I am. Like I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary with Blizzard last year, and I'm actually getting commemorated for that this Friday. And I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I do have a sword, my 5-year sword, like right behind me. So like that, I would say that was my biggest accomplishment of like getting hired at this place that was so impossible at the time to get hired by, but also doing it at like one of my lowest low points of my life. I'd say that.
Can we see that sword?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can get it real quick.
Yeah, no worries. Ooh, he's a Vikings fan, guys. Minnesota Vikings, I'm guessing. Woo!
It's like really heavy.
Is that Zelda? I'm getting Zelda vibes, yo. I'm getting Zelda vibes.
It's got like, it's supposed to be like, WoW, like World of Warcraft kind of vibes.
I can see it too.
You can see in the hilts, the handle and stuff. And then it says it on the bottom. I don't know if you can really read that, but it says like, hey, it's my years at Blizzard. I'm also covering up my last name. Like,
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, I've actually been wanting to get this mounted. I can't really mount it in my apartment right now because like I have to like drill holes and shit like that, and it's a rental. So I'm thinking of getting this mounted like at work. Yeah.
Yeah, Tiff, you heard it, yo. He works at Blizzard. Blizzard. Welcome in, Hysteric. Thank you
Yes,
for
I do.
the raid. Thank you for the raid, Hysteric. Of 3 people. Yeah, that sword. Yeah, you get that sword. Is it for everyone who gets it, right? Every 5 years? From what looks.
Yeah, every 5 years, you get a sword, and then for your 10-year service reward, you get a shield.
Woo!
That is in the same style as the
So
sword.
basically a full setup,
then,
yo.
like, yeah, and then I think at 15, you get a helmet. So you get like a helmet, sword, and shield. I think. And then 20 years, you get a ring, which is pretty dope.
Tiffany.
Time to work at Blizzard. Yes, what's up, Tip? Let's go, dude.
Okay, so
let
what?
me know. I got positions open.
So what's your position in Blizzard?
So my position at Blizzard is it's called I'm a compatibility analyst, well, senior compatibility analyst, and it's essentially hardware QA, where we test our games, our products against all kinds of hardware, any and all kinds of hardware, and also some software too. Like we have an entire computer lab filled with. By the way, if anyone wants a tour at Blizzard, please let me know. Like, I would love to, of course, when everything's safe,
Yeah,
for sure. But we have this thing in the compatibility lab, which is called the GPU wall, where we have an entire wall full of graphics cards, to each of every single graphics card that was ever released since 2007. We had more, like dating further back, but like our games right now can't deal with, they just can't deal with that kind of old tech. So we have to continuously, take away all the old stuff. But yeah, we have an entire GPU wall. We have like, benchmarks and all this other stuff. We also deal with consoles and peripherals as well. Like if you ever wanted to know how to play WoW with, a Tony Hawk skateboard controller for the 360, like, yeah, we found out that you can. Like, and stuff like that, like VR stuff too. Like, Oculus and the Vive, we work with those with some of our projects. Stuff like that, right? It's basically all hardware QA. Console stuff too. We get to play with the newest consoles and their dev kits. By the way, the dev kits for like the newest, for like the last couple generations of consoles, so weird. Like, you see the console right now, right? You look at a PS5 and like an Xbox Series X, and you're like, oh, that's a cute little console, right? The dev versions are like they're bigger than PCs. Like they're like twice as big as PCs. They're not like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know. Like for instance, like the PS5 dev kit looks like a V for some reason. I don't know why it looks like a V. It's like a V and a little like tower in the middle. And I'm like, you can't put this in like an entertainment center, dude. Like you can't put this anywhere. Like what? This is as big as like the trunk of a car, and it's just for developing on the PS5. Like why would anyone buy this? But like what's the console gonna look like? But yeah, I don't know. They find a way. It's strange. But yeah, man, dev consoles are a whole thing, man. So crazy to look at.
Wait, there's the VR games in Blitz? With Blitz?
We were thinking about some stuff. I think we even may have pioneered or tried to pioneer some of that stuff for, I believe, what were we looking at? For some of our projects, from our unreleased projects, we were looking at VR stuff. But it ended up not being, although it was really fun for the animators and the developers to play with, because we as part of the lab, we got to had the whole setup. They're like, oh, you want to see what the vibe's like? I'm like, yeah, okay, and then we'll just give it to them and like watch them, like mess around with it. Those developers and artists can do some really crazy shit in like 3D painting. It's insane. But yeah, they ended up not kind of scrapping the project because as projects go, sometimes it was too expensive, or we didn't have the kind of talent around to cultivate that kind of stuff, or we didn't see a market for it. So, yeah. So we're kind of waiting for VR to blow up a little more, but unfortunately, not right now.
Okay. Terry has a favor from you. Can you talk to the guys over at Hearthstone and ask them to put like 80 packs in my account?
You know what? Tarek, DM me your BattleNet email. Just let me know. I'll think of something.
Yeah, but back to VR. But like, would you ever think you'd see yourself in the World of Warcraft world, yo.
Ooh, funny enough, one of the funny things about working at Blizzard, especially for people that worked there for a really long time when WoW came out, was like I assumed that I had to know everything about WoW just to get hired, right? And at the time that I got hired, I was like, I've been so burnt out on MMOs, man. Like I've been playing MMOs since like the RuneScape days, like on a browser. And I played like Ragnarok online for a really long time, and then during college, I went through a slew of MMOs, right? Like Silk Road, like like Maple Story. I even got to a point where I was playing like this one game called Fly for Fun.
Oh yeah, I played for that game.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. I was like, I remember playing that like solo as like a cleric, and like they can't do damage for shit. And I was like, it took me forever just to get my flying, like my broom or my little hoverboard. And I remember putting hundreds of hours in that, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't making me happy. Like I gotta stop playing these games. I can't love the grind. So like, I stopped playing. And then as I was getting contacted for interviews and all that stuff for Blizzard, I was like, oh shit, I gotta know about WoW, right? So I started looking at like the lore. I like started a trial character to get myself up to like level 20 before I had to like pay for a subscription or whatever. I was like, and I hated it. I hated the entire fucking thing. Like, well, not the story's great. Like honestly, in WoW, I will say this, like no cap, it is the most polished MMO I have ever seen out in the industry right now. It is so polished. But I like it. I had, I don't know, something like triggered in me. Like I was so burnt out on MMOs that the moment I felt like there was a grind, my interest just plummets, right? So it was tough for me to even get to level 20 in WoW. And then by the time I got hired, I was like shaking in my boots. They're like, "Do you know about our games?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, and they're like, "All right, so what's your favorite game?" I'm like, "I can't say WoW because I have no background." So I'm like, "I really like Diablo, and I heard like Heroes of the Storm was coming out at the time in like beta." And I was like, I really like the notion of Here's the Storm. I used to play League a lot and play some other like MOBAs at the same time, so I'm really interested. And they're like, oh, cool, right on. And like they never asked me about WoW ever after like during that interview process. And then when I got hired my first day, my new coworkers were like, hey man, like what level are you in WoW? I'm like 19. And they're like, wait, so you got hired at Blizzard and you don't even play fucking WoW? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it. I was like, oh shit. Like, I'm dying. I was like, oh my God. Like, you don't have to like WoW. And they're like, yeah, dude, we play all kinds of fucking games here, dude. Like, don't even worry. Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm like a level 70, like, like in Diablo and I have like 2 characters. And they're like, dude, that's really good. They, like, it's weird. They're like, you don't have to play WoW to be loved and work well at Blizzard. Although one of the first projects I did work on when I was at Blizzard was WoW. And I'll tell you, like, even if I don't really like playing MMOs and that grind in general, love testing for WoW because it's like a game that at that point was like 10 years in, right? So polished. All the processes were really nice. I don't have to ask the devs for anything because they've already built a thing for it, Whereas like new projects are like, oh, how do you do this? It's like, oh, well, we got to spend like 3 weeks trying to figure out how to make you teleport from one part to 20 feet later, like 20 feet in front of you. I'm like, oh, okay. Whereas like in WoW, it's like, yeah, we can do that. We already know. So that was really nice working for WoW. They're really fun guys too.
Yep. No worries, Sammy. Was there any other? Nope. Nothing. Okay. I guess we have to continue.
Yeah.
What do you value most in a friendship?
I would probably say I've had different answers for this in various times in my life, like loyalty, sense of humor, etc. But being, right now as I am, I'm a boomer now, right? Like I'm a super boomer. So the one thing that I absolutely cherish in friendships now is vulnerability. Like if you're able to like open up and let your guard down, it makes me feel like I can do the same, and we can like connect in that kind of way. It facilitates really deep connections and really deep friendships that way, and that's what I really like. And that's what I really value in a lot of the friends that I've had since I was little. Like I still have friends that I talk to since I was in kindergarten. And the reason why they do that is because over time, you know, we become more vulnerable with each other. We can talk about things. We're open to each other, all that kind of stuff. So I would say it's not the only thing, of course, I value, but for sure it's the most, I feel like it's the most valuable trait between me and the long time friends that I have.
All right, let's take a break from all these questions for a bit.
Okay,
I
sure.
want it's story time with Drew. All right, we can approach this two ways. You can tell us an embarrassing story, or just tell us a normal day to day like kind of type of like story.
Story time, huh? I mean, I tell embarrassing stories all the time on my stream. So like, Oh, you know what? I'll tell a boring one. I'll tell a boring one, kind of funny one. Very, very relevant to our times right now. All right, so, let's see. This was last year, and this was the first time that I was testing myself for COVID, right? And in our area, the way we do it is, you know, we have like a huge parking lot for it. It's actually at like a fairgrounds here, and everyone stays in their cars, right? Everyone masks up and all that stuff. But it was my first time. I had no idea what I was getting into. You know, I'm in the line, and then waiting for a really long line. Finally, I meet up with, you know, one of the people that's like facilitators or whatever, and you know, I roll my window down, and then he's like, no, roll it back up. I'm like, oh, okay. So I roll it back up, and then he's trying to talk to me, and I can't hear him because the window's up. So I'm like, hold on, I can't hear you. I'm like motioning, I'm like, I can't hear you. I'm gonna roll the window down. And I roll the window down. He's like, no, roll it back up. I'm like, okay. And like I roll it all the way back up, and he keeps talking, and I can't hear him. So like this goes on for like, you know, like a good couple, like three times, right? Like we're just like, and we're both frustrated. It seems like a sitcom kind of like, you know, Seinfeld moment where like I just like, dude, I can't talk to you if the window's up, and you obviously don't like me when the window's down. So what do we do here? And I'm like, okay, how about this? I'm like, you know, of course he's not listening to me. So I'm just like, all right, how about this? I start like putting it down a little bit, and he's like, hello? And I'm like, yeah, hello. He's like, okay, cool. I'm like, all right. And then like, so we start talking and stuff. That was like really funny. Like, yeah. And then we started exchanging information, all that stuff, right? You wanted to see my ID, whatever. And then, and then he tries to hand me this like thing that he, you know, like it's like a ticket or whatever that he just wrote down that registered me or whatever. And then he hands me like the paper, and I roll, and you know, it's really, you know, it's a lot of papers. So I roll my window down just a little bit more, and he's like, no, roll it back up. I'm like, oh fuck, like come on, like what the shit? Just let me do this real quick. So I'm like, all right, fine. So like, all right, I'm basically playing this game where like I'm rolling it up like little by little to find like the perfect height for him to be able to give me the papers that he needs, and for me to go on my way, right? And we finally find it, and I'm like, you know, and he's like, all right, bye. And I'm like, bye. And I'm like, oh my God, that was the fucking worst. Like, that was the worst. And like, I remember that, and it was, I waited in another line, and you know, I did my thing. But I remember the entire time, you know, before I was like doing that test or whatever, between that time, I was like, I'm pretty sure, I was thinking at the same time, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's probably thinking how stupid I am. And I'm probably sitting here, like thinking how dumb, like this entire interaction was. And like, yeah, it was pretty funny. So yeah, but second time I did that, completely fine. So, cause I know like exactly where I need to roll down my window so that I don't get any more complaints. So, but yeah, that was a good story.
And another story?
All right.
Embarrassing one?
An embarrassing one, okay. Let's see. Embarrassing story. Let's see. Okay. This was at BlizzCon. So, working at BlizzCon, if you work in Blizzard in the, you know, in the headquarters, everyone has to work the floor on BlizzCon, anywhere, right? That means like CEOs and designers and directors of, you know, big people in the company can be working like, you know, little like volunteering for little jobs, right? Like just like being a line attendant or working as a cashier in the shop or whatever, right? So I was working with actually I don't even know if I should say his name, but he was the director of SC2 at the time, StarCraft 2. And we were both working the Heroes booth. I was just kind of being like an IT liaison, and he was a line attendant, or a station attendant, where he just basically sat around and watched people do stuff, play games or whatever. And you know, we were talking at the time. You know, we were just kind of chilling, and then he's like, "Hey, I have a panel, or rather, he just leaves. Or he just kind of goes off. He's like, "Hey, man, can you like cover me for a little bit here? I know it's not your job, but can you cover me for a bit?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, don't worry, I got you," because I wasn't really doing anything at the time. So I'm there chilling. You know, like 20 minutes goes by, and I'm like, "Oh man, like where is this guy? Like, you know, I don't think I'm supposed to do this because it's 22. I start getting asked all these questions about what I'm supposed to do, and like it's not even my job. Anyway, I'm like 20 minutes. I'm like, "Where's this dude? I gotta see where he is." But also, I'm kind of hungry, so I go into our little like supply closet. I open the door, and I see the same dude, and his pants are down. I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, you know, I saw his pants. I was like, "Oh, okay." And I closed it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so embarrassing." And then like he's like, "All right, don't worry, man. Like you didn't know I was in here." I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it." Like, and he comes out and he's like, "Sorry you had to see me like that." And I'm like, "Oh, like I'm sorry, I didn't knock. I didn't know someone was in here." And he's like, "Yeah, I actually had to go in here and change really quick because I have a panel to go to like right after this, and then I'll come back later." I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So that was pretty embarrassing. And then like the next day, of course, I heard about that. Like everyone, I worked the same shift the next day. Everyone was talking about it. That was kind of embarrassing.
Wow.
That's kind of embarrassing. I'm sure there's more embarrassing stories, but I'm trying to keep this PG.
So, are you gonna invite us all as a community out to BlizzCon? You think?
I would, if you guys can make it to BlizzCon, that would be so amazing. Unfortunately, I only have a certain allotment for like tickets and stuff, and because like BlizzCon tickets are really hard to come by. So if you can get them any way that you can, please do. But I would love to see you guys at BlizzCon, and even if you don't end up getting a ticket at BlizzCon, you can still hang out at the after parties, and they do a lot of stuff in the courtyard too. At least I think they will. I'm not really sure, but there's always after parties. Like we usually have it at the Anaheim Convention Center every year, and right next to it is the Sheraton, I think, or the Hilton. Like it's basically like a big hotel bar. Everyone goes there after BlizzCon. Each day after BlizzCon, you don't even have to be part of BlizzCon. Just go there and hang out with a bunch of nerds. Like it's fun because you get to like hang out and party with like people from, you know, people like me, like, you know, that work in the compatibility and QA, up to people that are like, you know, like J. Allen Brack, right? Or even like back in the day, like Frank Pierce or Mike Morheim, or Chris Metzen, like, you know, developers that like, or like this people in the C-suite, Alan Anaheim or whatever. Like you get to hang out with these people and you get to party with them. It's so surreal to party with these guys because you think like these guys are part of the C-suite, right? They're like supposed to be. I mean, it's a gaming company and it's the gaming industry, but you think they'd be like kind of stuck up or whatever. But nah, dude. Like when we're all partying, it's almost like we're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all chilling, and it's like, and those dudes can party hard, dude. Like those dudes can party hard. So yeah.
Okay.
It's unreal.
Lucian wants to re-ask the question because they weren't here for when you asked the answer. What do you value most in a friendship?
Oh yeah, that was I believe I answered vulnerability. I've had like different answers to this same question throughout my life. Right, earlier it's like, you know, loyalty or like sense of humor or whatever, if they're funny. But yeah, as I've gotten older and now that I'm like a boomer, right, basically, yeah, I value in a friendship is vulnerability, like the ability to like open up, you know, and be real and raw with people. It really helps to develop these very strong and seemingly long-lasting connections between people, right? And it's something that I value in all of my very long time friends that I've known since like kindergarten or like middle school or high school or whatever, or even ones from college that like I kind of came of age to. The reason why that we're all still together and hanging out is because we're able to be vulnerable with each other. Like we can tell each other like anything or feel free to do it. You know what I mean? At least there's like that option to do so.
Bo has a few questions here for you. So first, where is BlitzCon?
BlizzCon is usually at, like, I mean, if we had an IRL, right?
Yeah.
It's usually in Anaheim, California, at the Anaheim Convention Center, right across from Disneyland. No joke. It's literally across the street from Disneyland. And we usually have it at the last weekend of October or first weekend of November. Yeah. And I also saw another question.
Yeah. Will there be honeys?
Will there be honeys at Blizz? Dude, okay. Like, yeah, okay, so BlizzCon usually has a lot of, gamer nerds, right? But yo, gamer nerds come in all shapes and sizes, including the baddies. Like, real talk, there are hella baddies at BlizzCon. So many. And also, too, there's a lot of really beautiful cosplayers there, too, man. Like, a lot of professional cosplayers go there. And, like, yeah, it's unreal, man. It's unreal. And it's fun. Because we're all the thing is, like, no matter like who you are, if like you're like me, like a dried up boomer, or if you're like a beautiful cosplayer, everyone at BlizzCon is a super gaming nerd. So you at least have that in common. So it's really fun to like walk up to anybody and be like, "Yo, you like this?" And they'll be like, "Hell yeah!" Because I'm here at BlizzCon, and there you go, man. That's your in, dude. Easy peasy.
With that being said, where's the Blizzard games streams?
The Blizzard game streams?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like?
From you, like playing World of Warcraft, Diablo.
Oh.
Playing all those kind of games.
I'm trying to play Overwatch. I've been playing Overwatch my last couple of streams when I do play games. I promise I play games on my stream, guys. I promise. But like, yeah, I usually play Overwatch or Diablo. Those are my favorite franchises to go to. I used to really love playing Heroes of the Storm, but like other MOBAs that I usually play, sometimes I get kind of sweaty. Like, sometimes I get very mad or get tilted, right? So I try not to do that on stream because I usually don't like to get tilted on stream. You know what I mean? But yeah. I think I played WoW once, but that was a long time ago. That was like before last year when I had begun streaming at like 2013. Yeah, I played it once, and again, like I remember seeing that VOD and going like, "Wow!" At about like 20 minutes into the game, I can see how bored I was. I was like, "I don't want to do that anymore." Like, it's a great game, but again, like I get that, like the MMORPG grind feeling starts to set in, and I stop like getting interested, and so I just stop playing. Yeah.
Yes, hysteric. That is a Squishmallow. Yes, that owl back there.
Nice.
I don't know where my parents got it, where my sister got it. And then I was thinking to myself, like, too, right? Like, I'm like, I swear I haven't ordered anything for the past 3 months, so there's not possibility it's mine either. Like, I don't think I told you this story, but I told a few other people, right? I think you might have read it on Twitter too. So we got UPS dropping off our stock, right? And there was one box that they didn't pick up, and it was the Xbox, the brand new Xbox. And so my mom opened the box, asked me if I bought a PlayStation, or like the Xbox, whatever. So I'm like, no, I haven't. So then, like, mom's like, okay, whatever, we'll leave the box there and see if anyone comes back and picks it up. If not, then it's for sure mine. Next, so the thing is, I bought that box home, hoping they weren't gonna return on the day of. And then so I bought the box home just overnight, just left it on like the front door. And I'm like, my mom's like, oh, maybe you get the free Xbox, yo. And then I'm thinking to myself, I don't even have time to play console games. So how, I mean, that Xbox is going to be useless. And, and if it's going to be anything, I have to give it away. Do it like a giveaway. Of what sort. So next morning, I bought the box back. UPS people came, and I'm like sad in a way that it's gone, but like then again I'm like happy because I know it's not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you telling that story. Yeah. It was crazy. Like at first I thought that maybe the people at UPS were like, oh damn, that's a free Xbox, and they were just like, yeah, you should probably return it, and like they like kept it on their own or whatever. That would have sucked. But yeah, but kind of like just like you said, like even if you did have it, you wouldn't really have time for it. You know? And like it'd be kind of sitting there or whatever, you know. So I guess if anything, it's going to somebody that's actually going to use it and like have fun with it, I guess, you know.
Yeah, we even bought it to like the post office too, and they're like there's no return address and whatnot, so they couldn't ship it out to whoever it is. Weird. Yeah, but apparently UPS knew who it was from, so.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay, so what is your most treasured memory?
Most treasured memory. Good one. Huh. I'm pretty sure I always change my answer to this, but the one that pops into my mind right now is I was in high school, and I was part of like a short student exchange program between our high school and a high school in Japan, in Osaka. So I got to go there for a week, and I spent a week there, and living with a host family and everything, and it was really cool. But the best part of that was we got to the high school that we were exchanging students from. And there was this one bit where like we basically just sat down with like a random student, and we're trying to communicate with each other through like the computer. You know, like because I can't read Japanese, and like but they know English very well. In fact, it was really cool that like they got to learn that. And I remember like. And it was a girl, right? And like I was single at the time. I'm in high school, and I'm like, oh my god, she's cute. You know, like, oh my god, she's really cute. Like, what do I say? So I was just like, I was just trying to make small talk. And she was too, like, it was just really weird. Like we were like two awkward teenagers trying to talk to each other through like a computer, like, typing stuff out. And she could read English for sure, but she spoke very limited English, right? And like I spoke very, very limited. I don't even know what I said in Japanese, but like, there was a moment where like I think she was just talking about the Oscars. Like the Oscars had just came out, or it was like aired like the night before. Yeah. And like I had watched it, and like apparently she had watched it, and like I think, it was really cool. Like she just started talking about the Oscars, like, oh, what's your favorite film? Or rather, like I think we're talking about our favorite films, and then she was like, oh, have you seen the Oscars that aired? Like, I was like, oh yeah. And then we just started connecting, and then the conversation started flowing, and I felt like that was a really beautiful moment because it was like, here I am, like halfway around the world, like with this random, Japanese high school girl. Which, by the way, like I had just started getting into anime at that point too. I was watching like Love Hina at the time, and I was like, oh my god, like this is my fantasy. Like, this Japanese schoolgirl like trying to talk to me right now, and I don't even know what to do. But putting that all aside, like it was really fun to just be able to communicate with her. Like in that way, we just all of a sudden we had this flow of like communicating really, really easily between us and this computer, talking about movies and stuff. And I thought that was a really cool moment. Yeah, like meeting someone halfway around the world and seeing them that they have a lot of the same interests that I do. That was really cool. Like that was a really, really cool memory that I kind of think about a lot.
Have you talked to her since, or?
We actually pen palled for a good couple of weeks after that, but she got a boyfriend and I got a girlfriend, and then we just stopped talking to each other. High school, right? Like, I ended up getting a girlfriend, she got a boyfriend, and then we just stopped like we just completely lost contact. You know, I think she was a year. I think she was like 2 years older because I went as a sophomore, and I think she was a senior. So by the time that like we stopped, communicating, like I was already a junior, and I think she was already in college or whatever. So naturally, yeah, like we just lost contact. So I wonder what she's doing
now. What is your most terrible memory?
My most terrible memory. Good one. Let's see. The one that's coming to mind right now is I was working IT for that law firm that I was talking about earlier, and this was actually the day. Yeah, this was actually like the day that I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna try to get the hell out of this place." So what happened was I was on call. Like I was on call at the same time, and we were also doing like an overnight, or not overnight, but we were doing some sort of overtime project, right? I think we had to basically move printers. We had to move these big ass office printers from between different floors, and I think we had to move like 20 of them. Yeah, we had to move 20 of them, by hand, like by us. We didn't have like cart or anything. Basically, just had to roll these like big ass printers and like try not to fuck up the carpet and all this other stuff. And at the same time, I was on call, so. So in between me moving all these printers through like 14 floors, every time I got a call, I had to rush all the way down to the bottom floor to the computer so I can help that person out. And I remember getting like 6 calls that night at the same time, like helping out my coworkers trying to like move all these printers. And we didn't end, we weren't going to leave until all the printers were done moving. And because I was away a lot of the time, it made the process even slower. So by the time that I was done with my shift, I had worked starting from 8 a.m. the previous morning to 3 a.m. the next morning.
Wow. With
like the last 5 or 6 hours just straight up physical labor and being on call for IT. That was the worst. And I remember like coming home that night and like, making this, as I would do, make a long ass like Facebook post about it, like I fucking hate this job, blah blah blah. Like this is the worst. This is the 7th circle of hell. Like please get me the fuck out of here. But yeah, that was the worst. That was probably the worst. Yeah, I'd say that's the worst memory that comes to mind right now. Yeah, but it led to a lot of really good things. I guess it led me to get motivated to really like leave that job and also understand that life. I'm not about that life. Like I'm not about that. Like. So it was good. It was a terrible memory, but a lot of good came out of it.
What roles do love and affection play in your life?
I would say huge. They play a huge role in my life. I recently did that whole love language test thing. And I usually I took it several times just to make sure things were solidified. And my most important ones are always either quality time or physical touch, right? So affection in and of itself plays a huge role in my life. Like every time I meet someone new, I always like hugging them or putting my arm around them or whatever. I love showing that I care physically, or even like just being like just spending time with people. I love doing that. Even if it ends up just me sitting there next to them or whatever. And I always try to be affectionate to my friends and my family whenever I can. More like or less like I'm not gonna I'm less of a feeling of I might not see them again, but more just like I have so much that I can give, right? I feel like I have so much love that I can offer. I might as well just go for it. you know, yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yes, same brain about this. Just sitting there. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's?
I would say, um, I'd say maybe like externally, like, yeah, I guess my childhood was probably happier than most. I mean, I had a lot of good times. Like as much as I talked like shit, right? Like what, like an hour ago. um, like as much as a lot of that was going on, there was a lot of good too. You know, there was a lot of good moments, and we are very affectionate with each other. Just as I said, you know, like hugging my friends. I love doing the same with my family members. In fact, like we're kind of weird in that way. Where like we like to bite each other. You know, like we like to play bite each other a lot, just because we're weird. Um, but yeah, we're always very affectionate with each other. We're very. There have been periods though where like, you know, we're not very close, etc. Maybe because of space and time and stuff like that. Like right now, we try to get pretty close. We try to get really close with each other emotionally, you know, through Zoom calls and stuff like that. Right in the beginning of the pandemic, right in the beginning of lockdown for us. But as time went on, like I knew it and my siblings knew it. Like we hate Zoom calls. You know, like we hate doing that, right? Like we hate like trying to normalize that kind of stuff into Zoom calls, right? We're just like, this is the same. I just want to be in the same room with y'all and hang out. So we got very tired of that really quick. So we haven't been, I guess, in a sense, close as we usually are because of COVID. But outside of it, of course, like in the before times, like yeah, we definitely were. We'd visit each other all the time. They would come down to visit me whenever they wanted to go to Disneyland or whatever, and we'd have a good time. So, but I would also say at the same time, when I was growing up, especially in high school, it like varied very much between, it polarized between two extremes, right? It was either like I love my family and they're amazing, and the other side is they don't know who I am. You know, like they don't know who I am and no one listens to me because I don't say anything. You know, like, so yeah, there was that going on. But I think we've definitely come out for the better, at least now, you know.
Bro, I love Zoom calls. I can just leave whenever.
Just leave if you don't like them. Say, I feel like I'd be cold if I did that, dude. That's cold. But I get it though. Yeah, there are some Zoom calls where I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go. Like, I get that.
So how do you feel about your relationship with your mother versus your siblings?
Fairly good, I would say. I'm definitely not as close though to my mom as I am to my siblings. I think it's because, you know, again, like growing up in an Asian American household, very typical one, we didn't really talk about mental health a lot or confided in each other a lot. At least between me and my parents, you know. So it was always between me and my siblings, and that's why I'm a lot more closer to them than I am with my parents. But I still love my parents a lot. At the same time, too, going through, having started going through therapy last year and diving into a lot of the things that I kind of carried and brought, you know, and had on my shoulders since I was a kid, it allowed me to realize that, yeah, my parents, I had held this resentment toward my parents for a very long time because of the way I felt I was treated as a middle child, right? Like growing up and stuff. I held this resentment. I had this like anger with them for a really long time, to a point where that, like, I wanted to, you know, choosing a college, I wanted to go as far away as possible, right? Or as far away as I wanted to go, you know, just not be easily accessible. But yeah, it allowed me to create the space. Like after going through therapy and all that stuff, it allowed me to create the space and also hold these two very conflicting ideas in my mind. Where like, yeah, I love them very much and they did their best, but at the same time, they had failed me in certain ways, right? Before that, I was like, they failed me, so I like. Not that I don't. I hate. You know, yeah, I guess I can say whatever. You know what I mean? It's almost like I'm indifferent to them. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't call them all the time like my siblings do because I still held that resentment, right? But now I've learned to like really put in those two feelings, I guess, together because it's okay to have them together, right? Like I can understand that my parents tried their best and they still did everything from a standpoint of love, um, but they also failed me in a lot of ways. And at the same time, they also had to bring in a lot of their own junk into it too, which is fine. So I'm kind of dealing with that, but so it's a very interesting relationship, I would say. It's still good, of course. I love them very much, and I try to call them as often as I guess feel like it. But I also realize that there's a space that I put up. There's this boundary that I've set with them because at the same time I know that for a long time I've learned how they continually cross those boundaries, and I've never enforced them, and that's why I let this relationship deteriorate that way. So now I know how to set and enforce those boundaries. Like, hey, like, I love you guys, but nah. So yeah, it's been good. It's been better for sure.
Okay. Okay, complete the sentence, Drew. I wish I had someone with. Oh. And there goes Drew. Oh, rip. Alright. Where you at, Drew? Alright. Welcome back.
Damn it, why? Why does it always do this? I need a new PC, dude. That's don't worry. It's one of my donation goals. I'm trying to get a new PC so this can stop happening. For my Discord. Discord, please help. All right. Oh yeah, but yeah, what was the question?
Okay, so complete this sentence.
Okay.
I wish I had someone with whom I could share blank.
Ooh. I wish I had someone that I can share my lasagna with. Yeah. Lasagna is one of my favorite dishes. And if it'd be really cool to be with someone that also likes lasagna as much as I do. They don't have to, but if they did, that'd be pretty perfect. That'd be pretty bomb.
Let's see. Nobody gets that lasagna.
No, I feel that too, dude. Sometimes, Joey don't share food, so like, I get it. Yeah.
I'm trying to share my libido.
Bo, please. Slide into my DMs, bro. Just do it.
When's the last time you cried?
Last Tuesday. Yeah. That's usually when I have, that's usually the time of the week that I usually see my therapist. And so naturally, a lot of the work that we do is pretty heavy emotionally, especially recently. I'll probably talk about that next Wednesday too. But yeah, it's usually really, it's very emotionally heavy, good and bad, right? Like it's both. Some weeks it's like, wow, it's something really positive and something that is amazing, and I cry because I'm so proud of it, right? Or whatever, or I feel like a really high positive affection for it. And then sometimes when we talk about certain things, I feel very heavy because it's so like, hurtful and negative or whatever, right? Like it's so, or what's a better description for it? I guess it's so revealing of my weaknesses that I feel ashamed about it, stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much almost every Tuesday, I would say. Like that's probably the last time I cried. Yeah, but
Okay.
That's the work though. That's part of the work that that goes into therapy. So.
Okay, so this is a interesting question. I don't think I've asked this in any other interview. I might have, but I don't remember. Okay, your house containing everything you own catches on fire. After saving loved ones, and pets, you have time to safely make your final dash to save any one item. What would it be?
That's a good question. I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be saving it as more destroying it. Like, I think I would. Hold on, let's see. I want to say my browser history. Like, just fucking delete that shit. But like, let's see. I would say. And that is a very good question. Oh, okay. Yeah. So during that whole Japanese exchange program thing I was talking about earlier, during that trip and that same trip to the high school, we actually printed out shirts, like commemorative shirts, for us to take home. I'd probably run in and get that because it's tied to that, like, one of my cherished memories. So I figured that either that or go in and just obliterate my hard drives. Just like, nope, like just like. No, dude, I gotta destroy those. Bo, I have to destroy those. Like, yo, no one can find out because I know data forensics is one of the things I was trying to get into back in college, and I'm like, yo, dude, they can dig up some shit from anything, even burnt drives. So I'm like, dude, I gotta destroy that shit. I gotta destroy it. Or rather, I'll bring it to me so that I can destroy it properly. Because no one needs to see this shit. No one needs to see this stuff, please.
So you wouldn't save your maid outfits then, if you had to?
No, I could always get new ones. Yeah, I could always get new ones. Because thing is too, if I got a new one, I'd try to get it tailored so that it's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Or whatever, It's like, yeah, not that I'm not a sentimental guy, but like, I think if the memories were meant to burn, then they're meant to burn. Yeah. Like, and that's okay. However, my browser history though, and the sex tapes, man, like if you know what I mean, if it's like if like the building burned down to rubble, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get to it anymore, and like the firemen are like, hey, we found this one hard drive, and they look into it, and they find my sex tapes. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, like that's it, dude. that would be my most embarrassing story that I can tell you guys. Like, oh man, when the firemen found my sex tapes and were laughing at it, like, oh no, that would be the worst.
Ladies both.
I'm ashamed of my master. Bo, dude.
It's okay. We have to learn about Bo next Saturday. So.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Good thing he came today too. So. Okay. What's one thing you'd like to tell your younger self?
Okay. One thing that I would really like to tell my younger self is that, and hopefully this works at any point of my life back then, but I would like to try to convince them that their worth as a person and how they feel about themselves shouldn't be tied to the way others treat them, right? Like, I feel like, because I've been learning a lot, especially right now, about self-worth, and I realize how little I had of that when I was growing up. And I feel like if I had a lot more self-worth or a better sense of self-worth, I would probably be better at advocating for myself, right? Because I'd feel like I'm worth it. Or like, letting people know my needs, communicating better or whatever. But a lot of those times, there were a lot of moments in my life, where I felt low, right? Like I felt like I was worthless, or that it was pointless for me to exist or whatever. Like there were times that felt that way, and I just wanted, there was a way I could convince myself at any time between because obviously I made it out okay, I guess, because I'm here. But if at any point between when I was born and when I was in high school, if there was any point between that, I would love to tell myself that my worth is not tied to how people see me or how people perceive me or whatever, or how people treat me. My worth is only tied to myself and the way I think about myself. And hopefully let that sit in and realize that like my worth is great because of all these things. Like, hopefully that sparks like an inception kind of seed that like, lets him realize that he is very much worth more than he thinks he is. That he is very valuable as a person because he has all these really cool, traits and abilities and skills, and and he's really good with people. If he just tried, like, yeah, I think I would have grown up a lot quicker that way, instead of waiting, until I'm like boomer age to realize that I am worth it as a person. I wonder what kind of things he would have gotten into if he realized his own sense of self-worth, starting from even at the end of high school. If he knew, I wonder what kind of cool things he'd be able to accomplish,
What's one hobby you like to pick up but haven't?
Ooh. One hobby I'd love to pick up. Probably kayak fishing. I feel like kayak fishing is something that I'd love to do when I'm like retired. It's something that I would love to do or think about doing, when I think about, unplugging, right? Like if I think about going on a camping trip, other than just like, sitting at the campsite and hanging out with a good book or not, just like kind of being there taking in nature. One thing I'd really like to know how to do is fish, right? Fish on a kayak, Like I've been on a kayak before and it's really fun. And every time I'm on a kayak, especially in a river, I see people kayak fishing and I'm like, that looks really fucking cool. Cause it's like, you're just chilling there with yourself and you're just like chilling in the kayak, like, just going to sleep while like your line's out. And then, your kayak shakes whenever like it gets, you get a bite. And then, you bring home dinner back to the campsite, got some fish, just like cook it up or whatever. That seems really fucking cool. I would love to learn how to kayak fish.
What kind of posting?
Come on, man.
Yeah, you don't hear
kayak fishing's dope.
But things you don't hear it that often though, too, right? Kayak fishing too. You don't hear it that often, so it's probably pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's something like I think about when I think about hobbies like that. I'm like, what kind of hobby would I be into if technology just wasn't around? You know what I mean? Like if like my phone wasn't around or whatever. I'd be like, oh, like I'd love to learn how to kayak fish because I'd learn how to feed myself. I'd learn how to like kayak on a kayak for a really long time, and I'd learn to be more in tune with nature. You know what I mean? Because technology is always changing. Like I mean, the phones that we have right now, probably in the next 20 years is going to be something completely different, right? But kayak fishing will always be there. That is unless we don't have any more rivers and bodies of water and shit. Then it'd be like, well, okay, then we'll figure out something else. But
All right.
Being a Valorant god and smashing at the house.
Sounds like a bold thing to do.
Yo, dude. That's an amazing hobby to have, dude.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to change this question up a bit.
Sure.
Okay. Stop, drop, and roll. If you stop, drop, and roll. You get to drop everything you're doing, and you were able to go wherever you want after COVID. Where would it be?
Ooh, damn! What? Okay, like, and assuming that I can like afford it and shit, and like.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing matter. The only thing you need matter is about packing. That's what it. No payment, no anything. Where are you going, yo?
Oh my lord! Oh my god! Oh man! I think I would go somewhere in Europe for sure. Probably Amsterdam. Probably go to Amsterdam, because I've never been to Europe before. I've never been. I've always wanted to go to England, Italy, and all this stuff. I studied Italian when I was in high school, and that felt completely useless because I never got to go to Italy yet. But like, I would love to go to Amsterdam, like just hang out there, chill out, see what the red light district's like. But like, just try it, like different food, right? Too, like just that kind of way of living is so different from here. I just want to be in a completely different place, other side of the world kind of deal. Yeah, I would definitely go to Amsterdam.
I agree. And I'm happy that you had a different answer than everyone else did. I'm just happy that you have a different answer than everyone else did. So.
Right on.
Because everyone.
Wait, what other answers? Yeah.
No, because I've only gotten Japan. Japan is nice though. I do wanna. We all wanna go back.
Absolutely, dude.
I've always wanted to go to Amsterdam too. Mainly for the raves. Sure. the rave scene in the Europe is pretty crazy, yo. So.
Yeah. I always wanted to experience something like that, Yeah, because the thing is too is if I've never been to Japan, I probably would have been defaulted to Japan for sure. And not that like, oh, I've been there once and I know what it's like, but it's more like, I just want to be somewhere where I've never been before and like just completely out of my comfort zone. That would be Amsterdam for sure. Because if I go to an Asian country, I still feel, even if I am a tourist, I'll still feel connected to it in some way because I'm Asian, right? Like I know how to relate to something with the people there. But if I go to Amsterdam, like I can't relate to anybody except maybe people that smoke weed, I guess. Like I'm like okay, cool, like that's I guess, but everything else is just so different, right? So it's like, oh, it'd be completely out of my comfort zone. So I'd love to see what that's like.
Okay. Oh, so this is kind of like a social experiment kind of thing. Well, similar in a way, right? So, well, this is just in scenario. You come across someone getting into an elevator with you. You only got 20 seconds to introduce yourself. How do you attack this?
20 seconds, huh? Shit. It's a good question. Honestly, I wouldn't. I know that I wouldn't want to give him an elevator pitch. Like I wouldn't want to give him an elevator pitch of like, oh hi, my name is Andrew. I do this and none of that, right? Like or like what I do on my stream, right? Like hi, I'm hi, I'm Andrew and I stream. Like no, I don't want to do that. I think if all we got is 20 seconds, then I'll just try to do the best what I can with the 20 seconds. I'd first just start off with, just saying hi. Like I honestly just genuinely introduce myself. Like, hey, how's it going? My name is Drew. What's up? And then like, try to start a conversation from there. Like, oh, like, what are you doing in this elevator? And then like we'll just kind of go off from there. Because the thing is too, I can't force interaction, right? Like, I don't want to force interaction and be like, okay, I now said all this stuff. Now talk to me. Like, it's just more like, I'm not that way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not that way. Like, you'll notice too that like I don't outside of my Instagram and maybe my Discord, I don't self promo because I don't like I feel weird doing it, and that's the same thing with like an elevator pitch. Like I don't want to do that, right? I just feel weird doing that, and that's just me, right? So I'd rather just try my best, I guess, to create a connection with them somewhere through small talk or maybe find a common interest within those 20 seconds. If we end up not doing that, then cool. At least we had 20 seconds and I can move on after that, right? If we end up being really cool, then we can do more beyond that,
So. Bo basically pitched it for you already in chat.
BB is massive. Here are my digits. That's not even 5 seconds, dude. I love it. Yes, that's 15 seconds to spare, dude. Love it.
Give them the handshake.
Handshake, awkward smile. That's what I would normally do, Tarek, for sure. That's what I would normally do. Like go into the elevator and just be like, "Hi," just like. Okay. Yeah.
I can bust in 20 seconds.
Bo. I love it. Bo.
Okay, so we have a few streaming questions here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, since you meet so many people and not so great people on Twitch, but mainly the ones
Mhm.
you call friends. Do you think you'd be able to make similar friends if the pandemic never happened?
Mm, you know, you mean like if I wasn't streaming at all,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
okay. Um, honestly, I would imagine I would like to, right? Like theoretically, I would really like to, but I don't think I would be able to. At least connect with as many people as I do through Twitch, right? If I didn't have Twitch, I wasn't streaming, and then of course, like outside the pandemic or whatever, like the best I can think of is maybe like joining like a meetup group maybe, or like um, some sort of special interest group or whatever, uh, and maybe find more friends that way, right? I know that's a more organic and slower process
Mm-hmm.
though. So I definitely wouldn't have had as many friends. I wouldn't have been able to meet you and all these amazing people here from our communities, right? Like, it's such a freaking godsend that, like, I got back on Twitch and we all got on Twitch like during the pandemic and meeting all these wonderful people. Not that I wouldn't meet quality people outside of it, right? It's just that I think the the Twitch community lends itself to rapid growth and connection with people all over the world, and I think that's amazing. That's something really hard to emulate when um, in other avenues, basically, right? Like if I wasn't part of like a big club or a national thing or whatever, I think a lot of more of the friends I would probably make if I didn't have Twitch would be more professional. I'd probably probably go back and try to join IEEE and like go to like lectures, like boring shit like that. Or like I go to lectures about like, fucking 5G, like
Like TED
5G
Talks?
technology.
TED Talks?
Yeah, like TED Talks, like kind of like TED Talks and like networking events. Cause like I used to be an IEEE member when I was a student, right? And a lot of their stuff was they're professional, right? You attend a luncheon and then they'd have like either a TED talk or like a lecture about some sort of technology, right? I've been to a couple, and one of them was legit about I think 3G technology, like way back in the day. Um, and then after that, you would have a networking event. You'd talk to like people that were that worked in the industry. And as a student, I'd be like, oh, cool, like where can I intern at, whatever. I'd probably do more of that, honestly, and that would be I'll be real, that'd be boring as shit. Like they'd be so boring, and not as fulfilling, honestly. Um, you know, uh, yeah, I think I would be a lot more boring person had I not joined Twitch and the pandemic happened, for sure. I wouldn't have as many friends, for sure. I wouldn't be able to meet you amazing people, and yeah, so I'm super thankful. I mean, yes, the pandemic is absolutely horrible,
Yeah.
and it did force us to reevaluate a lot of stuff. But at the same time, yeah, it forced me to evaluate what's more important, even in my own friendships, what I see in friendships, etc., like that. So, I mean, a lot of bad came out of it, but also a lot of good, a lot of growth that came out of it that I don't think I would have been able to have had the pandemic not happened. You
Mm, what made you continue to stream after day one of streaming?
Oof, man. Like, okay, I'll give you two answers because the very first time I started, 2013, and then the first time I came back last year. So in 2013, when I started my first day, it was super boring. Like I only had my webcam, right? Like in the area, I was playing League at the time. I would have it in that area, that most people put their webcams
Mm-hmm.
in, or if you see like a face cam in like LCS or whatever, like that little area
Mm-hmm.
between the map and like your skills and shit. Um, and in that stream, I had bouts of like 30 minutes where I wouldn't say a thing. Like I was just so like focused on my gameplay. I'm just like playing for 30 minutes, and just like, and then after 30 minutes, I'm like, oh, or like after a death or like a game's over, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't say anything in chat and blah blah blah. I thought that was pretty horrible, but what made me go back, uh, what made me keep streaming after that day was just like this curiosity, honestly, like this curiosity of what I could do better, because I looked at the VOD and I was like, wow, it's so many mistakes. I did this and that. I didn't talk for like 30 minutes, like here and there. Like, And I started, instead of being really discouraged and going like, man, that was the worst. I don't want to do that again. Um, I've always had this weird like little performative itch, that I always wanted to explore, and I also loved improving myself. So after that first day, I was like, okay, here's the things that I hated about it. Here's what I can do to fix it next time. And I kept doing that, like after every stream back then, and I think that just kind of helped me carry me forward. And then last year when I came back, my first stream, I had all these expectations of like, oh, it's gonna be super big because I'm doing all these cool things, like everything's going to charity, and I'm giving games away every single hour and all this other fun stuff. And then the first day I came back, I think I didn't have more than like 2 viewers or 3, like total, like max, right? And I felt so bad. I was like, ugh, like I I definitely made mistakes back then for sure, but I still felt like I put up enough effort to be like, oh, I think I should have been more than 3 people or whatever. I had all these weird expectations, right? But it was the same thing that I did. I after I felt however I felt after the stream. The next day I looked at my VOD and I was like, okay, I went through VOD, I wrote down all the things that I hated, and then here's all these things I could change. And then I was like, cool, I think I'll try these things for the next time. And that kind of carried me, and that again I kept doing that, and it carried me over. It carried me through that first stream, and every stream I felt I got like even like 1% better every single time. And that's what kept me going. And then what really kept me going too was people like you, people that come into the stream, give me energy and give me life, and either talk shit or give me words of encouragement or whatever, or just have a conversation with either me or each other in chat. Like that's what kept me going, because it definitely felt like, especially in this time of the pandemic and COVID and stuff, right? It gave me a sense of social belonging, right? It was like it tapped into like that little feeling I got, after, like in high school or like in school, after school's done, you hang out with your buddies, right? Or even like during school, during lunchtime, you hang out with your friends or whatever. And then of course, as an adult, you're hanging out with them during lunch or during your breaks or after work, like it gave me that kind of that social fulfillment. And that's why I kept going. That was also why I kept going.
Yeah, Tarek has a good comment there.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that, Tarek, for sure. Like, in fact, I remember after my first stream, I had that exact same thought. I was like, I looked at more of VOD, even though I did make mistakes. I was like, I'm more entertaining than all these other people that have like hundreds of viewers at the same time, and they were doing the things that I hated myself doing when I first started streaming back in 2013, where they would have bouts of like not saying anything for 30 minutes, and I'm like, how are these people still here? I'm like, what is the entertainment value in all this stuff? And I'm like, you know what? I realized too pretty quickly that like I should just stay in my lane. Like, hey, like their growth is their growth. They earned that somehow. They earned those viewers somehow, and their viewers are there to chill. For them, even if they don't talk for 30 minutes. And I may not understand it now, but their viewers do, right? So I got to do my own thing. Like I know my first stream was like terrible when I came back from last year, but I know that at some point that I was gonna gain some sort of following, at least maybe find some people, and then I ended up finding other people that were also streamers, and then that kind of just gets the ball rolling. Yeah, like it came to a point where like it didn't matter how many viewers I have. In fact, now I turn off my viewer count and all that stuff because it just gives me anxiety. So I'm like, I'm gonna turn off my viewer count or whatever. I don't care how many people are on the stream, because I want to be able to stream for my viewers who are, if it's just one person or if it's like 100 or 1,000, I want to stream exactly the same. Like I want to see this consistent product like that. So yeah, I decided to turn that off, and it allowed me to find really fun streamers and viewers and regulars, and that's what I realized I care about the most. I didn't care that if I had 100 viewers, 1,000, or 1. If there were people talking in chat and like being chill, and they were regulars, I loved that. Because it's like gaining new friends, right? Getting new friends that hang out with you, during your stream. So.
Ooh. Back to the similar question I asked you earlier, but this one's a bit different. So, if you were given one superpower for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh. I remember I tried to explain this when you asked me this last time during my AMA, and like I couldn't really get it. Even I don't really fully understand it, but like, I think if anything, I would really like, um, I think I basically just really like super strength and durability, kind of like All Might, right, from My Hero Academia, kind of like that. I don't know if I'd be as boisterous as him though, or flamboyant, right, or like be all like, 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 I wouldn't be like him, but like I would definitely love to have that kind of power, right? Um, like, just so that I would be able to protect myself and also protect my loved ones. And yeah, I feel like, and it's even though, I don't know, for some reason, having that pure strength or like, massive strength or whatever and durability, it seems like a very pure power, a very like positive power that I can, just like All Might does, right? He bestows like positivity and hope to everybody, and like I was like, oh, that's really cool. And he does that by being immensely physically powerful, right? I think I'd like to do something like that. Maybe not, again, not as boisterous as him, but in some way, I'd like to instill that kind of hope, like in people, in myself, and the people that I want to protect. Be really cool. Either that or like Kitty Pryde's powers, where like I can like phase into stuff, right? That would be really cool. So like instead of having like physical, immense physical power, strength and durability, and just like smashing into things, which would be really fun. It would also be really fun to just phase into things, like basically be like Homer Simpson and fade into like a bush, like just like, well, I'm out of here, or like, you know what I mean, or like be more stealthy and stuff. That'd be really fun.
Both.
Power to get. What is that? That's like what's his name, dude? From Jessica Jones. I can't remember the. What's he?
Tarek, you should know, cause if you don't know, Tarek and Sammy, they both watch.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on a ever since I've known them. They've been on a Marvel binge, like watching like from the beginning of storyline to like they're probably like midway through right now.
Kilgrave. Yeah, there it is. Kilgrave. Yes. That so, Bo, you basically want Kilgrave's power because like, I think essentially like if they smell your hormones or whatever, or your pheromones or your scents, then like you basically have suggestive powers over them. Although it does create a lot of weird things outside of it, but you basically get what you want, I think.
Ooh, you guys are almost
Jessica
ending?
Jones.
Wow, you guys are almost finished the whole like all of Marvel. They finished like every single like Marvel show, Marvel movie.
Nice. How many hours is that? That's insane.
It's been since July. It's been since July. It's like it's actually very close to a year. Actually, now I think about it too, it's pretty close to a year.
That makes sense, dude. Like, there's just so much in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially once they started opening up, like shows like like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, like Luke Cage, Defenders, all that stuff, right? Punisher, etc. Like, dang, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, chronological order too.
Chronological order. That's crazy.
Bo is one of the money.
Infinite money.
Money can buy you some too, right?
I guess so. Well, basically, money can buy you anything at that point, so I guess that makes sense too. Yeah.
I found a Reddit post that it says it takes 15 days to complete the whole thing without breaks.
Ooh. Yikes.
That's yikes.
That's a lot. Yeah. That does sound fun though, honestly. It does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's give our brain some break right now. I found this challenge on TikTok. It was very, very funny.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, can your palm touch your shoulders?
Well, you know what? Yeah.
No, no.
Oh, damn it. Yes.
No, you can't.
Like, all right. But like, yeah, like my right
Yeah.
palm
Yeah.
touch my right shoulder. Like, no, shit, no.
Want to pull your
I'd say,
shirt
like-
up a bit too?
What? Wait, what? Fine, I'll do it. All right, hold on. Okay. No, it's just like my knuckle. It's just my knuckle. Fuck. Nope, can't do it.
There you go, guys. We got a gun show for you.
I knew what you guys are doing. I knew what you guys wanted.
Oh yeah, water break.
Yeah, dude, I gotta hydrate. Hydrate.
Sammy, Yumi.
Yeah, I do need beefy biceps for that. Yeah.
Sammy, Dark Yumi, Winning Dog, thank you for contributing 2K kind of points to the boost stream challenge.
Oh, you're boosting right now. Let me see, dude.
It usually doesn't.
Go.
It just happens sometimes. It's pretty rare to happen. Yeah, every like 2-3.
Go, dude. Let's get it.
Bo, I'm gonna make you do this challenge too. So get ready. Get ready.
Destruction POS. I'm sorry. I'll put him away.
Oh, this is the new challenge for the interview. We flip that shirt. So we both flip that.
Flip that shirt. What do you mean? How?
You
Like,
have to flip
what?
it the other way. Just turn so your back of the shirt should be in the front.
Oh, okay. Okay. Shirt.
How about I flip your world upside down?
Okay. Almost got it. Yeah! I did it! Woo! Oh, this is weird.
I
Oh, this was weird. Like,
oh wait, hold on.
like
I need
next up to my
to
chin.
duplicate. I need to duplicate this source, and then here, let's do this. Boop. How do I do this? Here we go. Do that. Nope, that's not what I
Oh,
wanted.
the world see Australia?
Ready? No, I don't. I had to delete it due to the alerts. Oh, there we go. 5 minutes on the clock, starting now.
Wait, for what?
The Australia.
Oh, shit!
How the world sees Australia.
I see it, though. Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Where are we? Ooh. Okay. This is a good one. Okay, what do you wish you knew when you were younger that you know now?
It's a really good question. Oh, okay. That I don't always have to eat junk food. There are other things I can eat besides nacho cheese Doritos. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like because, I mean, I love food for sure, but I used to eat a ton of junk food and drink a lot of soda when I was younger for sure. And I'm not, like, I don't regret it though. Like, I don't regret it, but, cause it's amazing. Right. But like, as I got older, I actually realized that, a couple years ago, I got diagnosed with gout, like chronic gout,
Yeah.
right? And it was hereditary, so I was gonna get it regardless. But I think the way that I was eating, like definitely when I was growing up, in high school and college, and even up until 5 years ago, you know, I feel like I accelerated that process. You know, like I would have gotten it probably when I was in my 50s or 60s, but because of the way I was eating and like my weight fluctuations and all that stuff when I was in high school and college, I think that definitely accelerated when I would start getting serious about it, or like when it started like really affecting me. So yeah, I'll definitely say like, yeah, dude, those Doritos and things, those are amazing, but please, like, there are other snacks that are delicious too. You know what I mean? Celery's good. Celery and peanut butter is dope.
Yeah.
Like I don't always got to eat nacho cheese Doritos. And pizza is amazing, but it doesn't always have to have just only meat on it. Like a cheese pizza sometimes is fine because cheese is delicious. Just stuff like that, right? Like, because I remember growing up and especially growing up Filipino, rice was always a big part of the meal. In fact, a lot of the times rice was the biggest part of the meal, right? Like I'd have like an entree, a small entree, and like just like maybe 2 or 3 times the amount of rice. I always had to have rice. And I wish I knew earlier that I didn't have to actually have that much rice. Like growing up, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have to have the entire like plate of rice and like a little bit of thing. I can balance that out a little more. You know what I'm saying? Fuck celery.
Fuck.
Yo, what? Oh, I get it though.
Yeah, some people hate celery,
I get it.
but
Yeah.
they're actually...
It's one of those things, man. Like, dude, when you become a boomer, all of a sudden celery starts looking real good because you're like, you know what, man?
What you mean?
I can absolutely go through that entire party-sized bag of Doritos, nacho cheese Doritos, but my poo-poos are also going to be super hard, like, and they will hurt. So, like, you know what I mean? Or oh man, like, now my farts are going to be real rank that day. Like, they're going to be terrible. So, that celery. Like after that, all of a sudden celery starts looking really good. You start having that celery, and it's like, oh, cool. My poo-poo's really easy and soft, and like, oh man, I didn't have to have the bubble guts later on. You know what I mean? So like, space that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Space it out because they're always gonna be there. Doritos, nachos. Yo, they during the Super Bowl this year, Doritos came up with 3D Doritos. So there's always gonna be something new, man. Don't worry about it. Doritos is going to be here for a long time. So, space it out. Have some peanuts. Like have some celery. Throw in an apple in there. Fuck it. Throw in an orange if you're feeling squirrely. You just, space it out. Please. I'm telling you. It's for the benefit of your future self. Asian families represent. Let's go.
Of course. Drew is a life coach? He is a life coach. The thing is, you don't gotta be a boomer to enjoy celery sticks. I've enjoyed celery sticks since I was a kid, so.
Oh, right on. See, I didn't know about that stuff when I was younger, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh. Speaking of family, did your family have any traditions growing up, and does it still happen?
Yeah. So. It's really funny ones like every New Year, my mom would make little piles of coins throughout the house, especially like in doorways or like on the stairs or something, like for good luck, I guess. I don't know anyone else that does that. I was actually trying to figure out if that was like, a Filipino cultural thing. Turns out it's not. Like it's just a weird thing that my family like, or my parents like to do. I'm like, cool. What else? Another fun tradition is every time we go to Disneyland, we used to go to Disneyland every single year since I was like 5. And when the Indiana Jones ride came out, I think one year we went and we did that first thing in the morning, the first thing that we did throughout the day. And even if the line was like shitty and super long, we still did it. And we really liked it so much. It kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. So for years, like decades, we've been doing that as our first ride every time we go to Disneyland that time of year, like, when it comes to that time of year. And another tradition that's really fun that we've developed probably recently, maybe within the last like 12 years or so, is every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, after we eat, we would all change into our pajamas and go through an Office or Parks and Recreation marathon. You know what I mean? Like we start from the very beginning, season 1, and just watch that as much as we can that entire weekend while we're like in our pajamas. So that's yeah.
Good.
Those are some fun traditions I got. Yeah.
Ooh. Would you rather trade intelligence for looks, or looks for intelligence?
I'd rather trade looks for intelligence, for sure. What I really like, and what I really like about other people too, I always liked. I always loved thought processes. I always loved tactical decisions. I always loved, seeing how people's minds work and how I can implement that into my own, how I can become smarter, etc. And I think at this age, especially now, I'd be like, I would give up whatever looks I have for like a little bit more intelligence. That'd be pretty dope. Because I realize too that like, what really attracts me isn't someone's looks, although it definitely plays a part of it now for sure. But yeah, I would say what attracts me more is their intelligence, or rather the way that they think, right? Yeah, so I would definitely trade away looks for intelligence.
What do you mean? He already has both.
It is both. Tarek, no, please.
All right,
I appreciate the buddy.
Last question before we head into the debate questions.
Ooh, okay, cool.
So what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Ooh, I always wanted to be an astronaut. I always wanted to be an astronaut. I always had like an engineering mindset. I loved like Legos, erector sets. Was it kinetics or whatever?
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff, right? And I always loved messing with like computers and all that stuff. And then, of course, one of my favorite movies to watch is Apollo 13. And in fact, like after watching Apollo 13, at the time it came out, I was still a kid. So after that, I would do like the stupidest nerdiest shit. Like I would, during the summer, and I got to watch a lot of movies, I would watch Apollo 13 while making like a pillow fort based on, like the fucking Odyssey, right? Like I'm with them and shit, They're like, oh, like I would try to act out the fucking movie as it's going on, like within my little pillow fort. I always wanted to be an astronaut, and like I always wanted to go to space camp, and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Bro wants to be.
What do you have, nerd? Because infinite. Oh my god.
All right.
You can blur my face out. Oh my god.
All right. Are you ready for these debate questions?
All right. Yeah, I'm ready.
It can make or break our relationship.
Oh, shit. No.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be fine. I'm sure. Here we go.
Does the way you put your toilet paper roll matter?
If you don't have pets, then not really. No, not really. If you do have pets, though, like if you have a dog or a cat, underhand. It'll save you cleanup time, because every time I had a dog or a cat, and they found out that the toilet roll the toilet roll was fun, like if it was overhand, and they wanted to play with it, then it would take up a lot of time to clean up, or like basically they would like shred all that, like all the toilet paper that they unraveled would be like dirty and all that other stuff. But if it's underhand, right, and they play with it the same way, then they'll still mess up the toilet paper roll, but I don't have to throw out as much or whatever, and not much of it gets that dirty or whatever, either way though, it's gonna get fucked up if you have a pet. Like it's gonna get messed up. Yeah, without a pet, it doesn't really matter to me, honestly. I've seen both, and I guess it also depends. Oh, actually, I'll say this: without a pet, I think it depends on how high the toilet paper roll is, right? Like, if it's really low, like let's say, like for some reason, I've been to houses like this. Have you ever been to a house that had a toilet paper roll that's like below the level of the toilet seat? Like you got to reach down for that shit. Please put it overhand, because I'm like, you know what I mean? Because like, if it's underhand, then not only do I have to like lean down, I also have to like curl my hand underneath just to get this like toilet paper, right? And it'll be, man, like that doesn't sound like a good time. If it's like above, it's really high, right? If it's really high, then I guess underhand would be nicer, I guess. So let's say if like it was like this high, I'd rather like have a little more room to, just like I don't know, like 3 or 4 more inches to just like pull the toilet paper down and manipulate it, rather than if it's closer to my face or whatever. I've been to bathrooms like this. It's so weird, man. It's weird.
Okay, another thing with toilet paper, right? All right. So, toilet paper on the right side or on the left side? And goodbye, Drew. Goodbye. Farewell, friend. Farewell, friend. Oh, God. Well. Welcome
Why?
back.
How many times has this happened now?
This is
I should probably start using Discord on like another PC.
Or maybe you.
But all right, okay, so right or left side, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I think I would rather have the. Honestly, I don't even think it matters, but if it did matter, then I'd probably like it on like whatever side your dominant hand is. I guess, like I'm right-handed, and I guess I would rather have it on my right, but I mean,
don't you have to reach over too, mainly to reach over to grab it with your right hand?
If I was using my dominant hand for sure, but like I'm right-handed, but like for instance, I guess I don't know if it's but my toilet paper roll is on the left, and I just use my left hand. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, because I don't want to like reach over. You know what I mean? I don't have to. I know that I don't have to reach over the other side to use my right hand. Yeah, but I would rather have it on the dominant hand, right? Yeah.
Because so everything on in my house is left side, right? But since my dad really renovated his washroom, it's on the right side. So it's so literally I have to like grab with my left. I gotta reach with my other arm. Shit. I'm like,
yeah, I can see how that feels awkward, right?
It feels awkward. Like, you're reaching for the other.
Like you're trying to poo. You're just like. I get that. Yeah.
All right. 3 similar questions coming up here. Do you wash your belly button?
Yes, but I'll admit, not all the time. I would say, at least once a week. Because usually when I'm showering, like I try to shower quickly or whatever, and like, yeah, it usually takes me it takes me some time to dig in that little belly button, right? And like, man, so I'll just do whatever. But like, yeah, I do, but not as often as I'd like. I would say. There we go. I do, but not as often as I'd like.
Do you wash your feet?
I do. Yeah. Yup. Totally do, because although I remember when I was younger, I didn't, but I was also very self-conscious about my feet, I guess, back then. And then like I was with an ex at the time, and we got I got like a a pedicure for the first time, right? And I was so self-conscious. I was like, oh my god, dude, I didn't wash my feet. Like, it probably stinks and it's nasty and whatever. Like, and now this random stranger is about to look at my feet for like the next 20 minutes or so. Like, this is gonna be terrible. Even though they're fine, they were completely fine with it. But like, I remember just being so self-conscious after that. I was like, you know what? From this day on, I am now gonna wash my feet every time I shower. You know, like just cause you never know, dude. You never know when someone's gonna want that sweet feet content. You know, so you gotta make sure that your feet are nice and clean and trimmed and proper, right? You know, because you never know, dude. You never know if someone wants to see that feet.
And do you wash your back?
I do. Yeah. I got like the Chromapis.
The Chromapis.
Oh, jeez.
And
That's true though.
And can you answer the other question? Is the belly button the keyboard of human beings?
Oh yeah. Yep. Working in IT for sure. The belly button is absolutely the keyboard of human beings, dude. Like it's just there's some your belly button health will tell you. Someone's belly button health will definitely tell you a lot about that person, how clean they are. Let's see. So to wash my back, yes, I wash my back. I usually have this like exfoliating, like I don't know, towel or whatever.
Loofah?
It's like really long.
Loofah?
There we go. Yeah, sort of like a loofah, but like I guess if it was a loofah, but it was like uncrumpled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would use that to like wash my back, like, just kind of like scrub it, exfoliate it. You know what I mean? Real nice and smooth.
All right, I'm gonna share with you 2 screenshots here. If I can find which screen that is. Hello? Is it this one? It's this one. All right. So, question is, how do you draw your X's?
Okay. I draw my X like number 8. Yeah, so because the colored line is the first line, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's definitely number 8. I go from top right to bottom left, and then top left to bottom right.
I think the other day, Song and Turtles interview, I found out that there were people who did it in like number 5 and number 1.
What? Hold on.
Number 5 and number
5
1.
is I can see 5 because like you're ending
you're ending the bottom
right side.
Yeah.
Or if you're left-handed, I can definitely see that, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can see that for sure.
And then number 1.
Number 1. I guess I think anything that kind of ends on the. I think. Let's see. Which one's weird? I think pretty much anything that ends on the right side, like for English, right? Like you're usually writing English from like left to right. Then anything that ends up on the right side is usually fine. But like let's see.
4?
I think we talked about this. 4 is kind of weird to me, but it makes sense if you're left-handed, right? I guess it makes. Actually, no, it's weird. Like what? Hold on. Nah, I guess it kind of makes sense if you're left-handed.
Yeah. I'm drawing with my left hand, and I understand that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then 3.
3 is okay. I think 2 is weird. 2 kind of sus. Right? Because like you're starting from, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, like you're starting from the bottom going to the top, and then you're starting from the bottom, and then you end up at the top, but then you're ending on the left side. So you have to like pick up your pen or whatever a greater length just to start the next letter, and that's kind of weird for me.
Well, yeah, I didn't think of that though, like with like left hand, right hand kind of thing. And then
Bo, no, please. I don't draw my X's. My X's all play me. Bo, no.
Okay, Drims, Mr. Drew, have a good rest of the night. All right, Tarek, have a good rest of your night, yo.
Yeah, dude. Tarek, dude, thank you so much for stopping by, buddy. I love you.
Well, Tarek asked the question earlier. I forgot to ask you. Do you
Oh,
know?
sure.
Do you know the plural of moose?
Oh man, I know you asked me this before. The meese.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Tarek would be hella
Yes.
proud of you there.
Yes, thank you. I learned from you.
And then, second question: how do you draw your squares?
Oh. Huh, 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 huh.
There's
Oh.
many ways to draw a square, but
Yeah,
they
I
can.
think I do the middle one for sure. Hold on, let me see. Hold on, if I do this. Yeah, it's the middle. It's anti-clockwise, exactly like that. So like I start from the top. I start from the top left, and I go down, and then yeah. So it's the middle one. Anti-clockwise. Is that weird? Oh, I love you. Let's get married.
Thing is, because Samida doesn't believe that plural of moose is meese still. Like, even though she has a meese emote. I had an emote made for your stupid cause.
Dang, dude. Oh, your mom said no? Damn. Fair enough.
Alright,
It's okay.
that's done with that.
Okay.
Two more shower questions.
Ooh,
First
okay.
one is hot or cold shower?
Ooh. Hot, then cold shower.
That sounds
Yeah.
about right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been doing this thing where like, I'll take a pretty warm or a hot shower earlier, do everything. And then like within the last I'd say minute of showering,
Yeah.
I go absolutely cold. Coldest.
Yeah.
It like wakes me up. It's basically like a cup of coffee, right? It wakes me up, it like tenses up my muscles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it also feels really nice too after like a hot
Mm-hmm.
shower for some reason. Like I'm the kind of guy too that would, sit in a jacuzzi for a long time or a sauna or whatever, and then just immediately run to the pool and just like jump in there. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I would definitely do hot, then cold.
Uh, there's a management argument going on in chat. Drew, do you punch yourself in the nuts too? That woke
Do
you
you
up.
push yourself to wake me up? You know, I tried that. I tried that once, and it did wake me up. But man, like I paid for it the next. Like I paid for it. You know what I mean? It was a steep price to pay. You know.
And then second question is shower in the morning or at night?
I shower in the morning. Um, if I wasn't so, I guess if I wasn't so tired, or rather, let me say this: like if I just had a shower, right, or there's like what most people have is just like a shower in a tub or whatever, um, like an American style or a European or Northern style, North American style bath, right? I'd rather just shower in the morning, right? But if I had a Japanese style shower, right, where like they have an entire tub to soak into,
Mm-hmm.
and then an area where you can just like shower like really quick and wash yourself off or whatever, I would shower both in the morning and at night, because in the morning it's nice to like soak in whatever, do the showering stuff. But like imagine doing that after a long day of work or whatever, coming home and like sitting in, oh shit, it's my cat. He's
You
going nuts.
got
he's going nuts on my thing. Um yeah, like I'd love to like, go home after a long day of work and then like soak in a tub, right? Or if I had a jacuzzi or whatever, and then shower that way and just like, yeah, that'd be nice.
they want to see your
Show cat?
cat.
Oh shit, okay, hold on.
Wait, Sammy, you missed the cat earlier. When he was belly rubbing it, you know? Yeah. can't even
Got
see
him.
it, yo. You can't even see that.
Yeah, he's he's a tuxedo cat. He's black and white. It's hard to see. Hi, buddy. Want to say hi? No. Oh, smelling the mic. But yeah, like I usually feed him around this time too, so that's why he's extra antsy and zoomy and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
All right, Yumi. Have a good night. Have a good rest. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, later, dude.
What's his name?
Wait, what's his name?
I'll name a cat after him in Minecraft.
His formal name is James, but I call him Jimby.
Jimby. All right, you can call it Jimby, Sammy. You can call one of your cats Jimby now.
I actually have his name tattooed on my body somewhere. He's a good boy. Hey, bud. Want to hang out? No? Trying to see if he'll hang out, but or he'll probably walk on my. Yep, he's gonna walk on my desk. And
the cat.
Damn it, Jim, please. Jim, no. No, please. Buddy. That's my cat. Chill. Good boy.
And with that being said, our interview here today is finished.
Hey, we did it. Hey, Jimmy.
So, I usually don't ask this, but what are your thoughts of the interview today?
Dude, this was super fun. I ended up answering a lot about myself that I never thought I would say on stream. But it's good though, honestly. It's really good. It's actually really inspired me to do more interviews of my own, honestly. I really like this format. I love what you're doing. And I know in the beginning of when I started streaming again this year, I was like, I'm going to do interviews, you know, like I'll reach out. And like, I haven't reached out in like 2 months. So, cause I was just like, oh, I don't know how it's going to go. But after this, dude, I feel a lot better about it. I think what you're doing is really cool. And yeah, I kind of want to do the same. So, dude, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for interviewing me today. And yeah, this has been super fun. And Jim, what's up, buddy? Wait, no, stop! No, that's my keyboard. No, damn it! Touching shit. Okay, but yeah, man. Thanks, dude.
Simon's asking, can we have a James versus James and see who answers the best? Because I don't know if you know, my name is also James, so.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, dude. I name a cat after you, buddy. Here you go.
With that being said, we shall end today's stream. I'd like to thank you once again for joining me in this interview today.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. This has been super fun.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the part of the stream where I ask you to plug yourself.
Oh shit. Alright, dude. Yo, hi, I'm Drujitsu. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. I stream everything from Overwatch to Stardew Valley. If you do want to follow me, go ahead or smash that follow button at twitch.tv/Drujitsu. You can also find me on the Instagrams and Twitters as @DrumoJujitsu. And you can type it up in chat actually really quick.
No worries.
So y'all can find me at Insta and the Twitters. I think I spelled that right. There. Y'all can find me there. And yeah, that's where I usually give updates for my stream and all that other stuff. So also in my Instagram, I usually post pictures of food or my cat. So if you guys want any more of that, definitely follow.
Well, with that being said, we shall go find somebody to raid.
Yeah, let's go, dude.
So, Drew, do you have anyone you're down to raid? Do you have anyone you want me to raid?
Oh, let's see. Let's see who's on right now. see, dude.
You know, I'm thinking about it, I should have done that better because last time I asked Ali face the same thing and I ended up not rating the ones that she requested. So
Oh no.
so I'm like, I might as well just redo it all over again with everyone else. But yeah.
All right. Let me see if you know what? How about, have you rated Oh Bunnies before?
No, she's
Or
actually a new
Sandbands?
friend, yo. She's actually a new friend.
Okay, yeah, dude, let's send us over, man. Send us over to Oh Bunnies.
Oh Bunnies. All right.
I think she recently hit
1K?
1K, I believe. Yeah, dude.
All right. I guess we shall do that. All right. All right. Thank you everyone for stopping by, listening to this interview as always. I'd like to thank you, Dark Yumi and Drujitsu for the raids today. Hysteric also for the raid. And everyone else who followed. Welcome, Wizards of Fly? BKK fans. And I think that's everything else. But yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by as always. No stream till Saturday. We'll be playing Kind Words.
Nice. Yes.
I watched Weldy played a bit of it, so I thought, why not? He recommended me to play the game, so I said why not, and we'll do that. Sunday we have karaoke, as always. So everyone's invited for that. And then next interview will be on Saturday at 10. Bo, we need to fix a bit of the thing on the time, yo. I don't know if it's 10 CST or 10 MST, but hey. Wait, Sammy, you guys will need Bo, you're not subbed to Drujitsu because that emote is not from my stream.
Yeah, that's from mine.
Alright, but anyways, thank you again. Can't wait to see what Bo has to answer and see if we have the better side of Bo on interview. Other than that, have a good day. Have a good rest of your week. Sammy wants. Oh god, I was trying to type raid, but I typed cat instead. Sammy says she wants a cat stream, so whenever that is.
Yay!
Other than that, we shall send some love.
Cat stream.
We shall send some love over to O'Bunnies. Raid 1. We'll use raid 1.
Do it, dude.
Raid 1 for all the subs and non-subs. Raid 2. Bo. Alright, fine. I'm gonna hit answer, yo. Saturday, March 6th at 10 p.m. CST. So you guys can do the conversion there because I'm not gonna do it for you. Bo knows the time. I'll see you guys on the flip side.
Great. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.